Oops.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happened?
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I, with the fat fingers, am your host for tonight, Roddykat. And you can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Needs on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
With Columbia down the way.
And that sound effect that you have just heard come from another man in Brooklyn. One Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram.
What's up, everybody? I am vaxxed and boosted. Screw you, Kyrie Irving. Get the hell out of Brooklyn.
The B, the R, the O, the O-K, L-Y is the place where I stay.
The earth is not flat.
Jesus.
What a
right.
moron.
He
Get
did say that.
vaccinated.
He did say that, didn't he? Yeah, indeed. Yeah, matter of fact, I need to go get my booster. Because it just about time for that to come up. Get your boosters, folks. Anyway, this is the Comic Book Chronicles. You can find this program on the Cold Leather Podcast Network. That's cspn.us.
Do it today like you should get vaxxed and boosted.
Yeah, what he said. You can also find this here podcast on your podcast personal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Leather Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Leave us 5-star reviews, hit like and subscribe, because damn it, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. If you haven't paid any attention to, if you know that there's some sports ball going on tonight, and Agent_70 is kind of halfway here, halfway there. Well, more so there, halfway here.
Well, no, the game is over, and they lost, and it's just annoying as hell because it was a game they needed to have and they should have had. But of course, somebody doesn't want to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not turning this into a sports talk radio show or podcast, but I'm supremely annoyed right now.
Yeah, and so you got that energy from him for the next hour or two. But that being said, you can also catch that energy live every Thursday night, 9:30-ish p.m. Recording on live on the YouTube channel of The Click Nation. That's youtube.com/TheClickNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Yeah, like I said, hit like and subscribe. Leave us all the good reviews.
Yes, like the true New Yorkers. So yeah, we're going to get into the books of the night, but first I'm going to real quick, I'm not going to spoil anything, I'm just going to kind of mention the fact that Star Trek Picard season 2 just started, and in fact it comes out every Thursday, so that's going to be a thing, apparently, from what I saw. So yeah, it dropped today. I, for some strange reason, thought we had a couple more weeks. I did end up watching it before the show. The only thing I will say so far is that if you've heard anything about who's going to be on the show, you kind of, or who's going to be guesting on the show, I know we've had some articles about it. You pretty much get that. Like it's an introductory episode. It's kind of starting from the end of the last season, showing where everybody is, and then pretty much goes into the plot, which I can pretty much say that if you're up on your Trek lore, specifically with Picard and a couple other people associated with the show, you can probably guess who's going to be involved in probably a good 20 minutes. of the show. I will say that much. Yeah, it really doesn't take that long unless you just like not even paying attention and you're just along for the ride. So it didn't really take that much longer. But outside of that, it was a pretty good start, I thought. I am looking forward to seeing the rest of it. You know, I wasn't sure if the show needed a second season. If that's still going to bear out. But it started strong for as far as I was concerned. And it's definitely, you know, it wasn't seeming that much Trek in parts. I see why some people were saying that in the beginning of it, but at the same time, like, it kind of was. And at the very end, it pretty much is Trek. Or at least some semblance of later Trek that we're coming back around to. So yeah, it was pretty good. And if you get a chance to watch it, go for it. But that being said, Agent 7 hadn't had a chance to watch it. That's the other reason why I'm not really trying to spoil anything for it. And there wasn't really not much to spoil in this one, honestly. So, except for what happens at the end, but I'm not even going to let that be the thing. Like I said, it's coming out on Thursday, so it does not. If we do end up talking about it, won't be too many spoilers about it. But yeah, we're going to get into the books of the night, starting off with Amazing Spider-Man number 91.
All right, so the creative team on Amazing Spider-Man number 91. This book is written by Kelly Thompson, with pencils by Sarah Pichelli and Fran Galan. Brian Reber is the color artist, and our favorite lettering paisan is on letters. That is no other than VC's Joe Caramagna. Take it away.
Oh wait, that's the variant. What I'm showing now is the Sarah Pichelli variant. Sorry. There we go. That's the right one. So yeah.
Right. Art Adams covers are usually the main covers, the A covers.
Yeah. But I think I had picked. I was going through trying to find covers, and I was like, oh, I see some pretty decent variants. So I might see some of those tonight. But yeah, Ben and I don't know why I put his name first, but screw Ben. Peter and Ben are raiding that that Staten Island base. Excuse me, that's the wrong island. Staten Island Beyond base, and they meet into some resistance of the Beyond kind, basically, as one would expect. Misty and Colleen kind of come in for the fun, and then Ben, the whole way through, is pretty much doing Ben things, which is slightly annoying at this point, but kind of, I guess, more annoying because of the fact that, you know, what he's gotten into his head, or more to the point, what was taken out of his head, is partially kind of screwing it with him. And in addition to, you know, what he's trying to get back, I guess. I don't really know. Who knows? It's freaking Ben Reilly. Who cares? And on the other side of the token, his lady friend Janine is want to get in some trouble, like the redheads of this world tend to do. So we'll see what she's getting into at some point. But outside of that, I kind of enjoyed the issue for kind of what it was. Like, you know, the fact that Ben was doing Ben things near the end of it was kind of like, all right, here we go again doing this thing. But the whole the banter thing, especially with when Misty and Colleen came in, was pretty neat. You know, with the guys, they seem to be having fun with it.
Well, it's nice that those characters have a little bit of shine in this series. And ultimately, you know, what we find is that Ben Reilly has his own agenda, which may not necessarily jive with the heroic agenda that the Daughters of the Dragon and Peter Parker Spider-Man are used to. So that's where we kind of end up at the end of the issue.
Yeah, and I was going to, because I was thinking, like, wait, what's this big kaiju? For like 2 seconds, I was like, wait, I know who this is, but it was like, oh no, they got this big kaiju behind this big door. But we know who that is. That Ben stupidly opened up. I'm sitting here like, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, wait, did she actually trick him, or what? Or did she actually go do, or did he actually just go off script and he just did it anyway? What did he do? I'm going to assume the latter because, again, it's Ben Reilly. But like, yeah, okay. So he's causing trouble for other people just to get to deal with his agenda. So go figure. So I guess we'll start, because again, I guess this is going to wrap up pretty soon, thankfully. So we'll see how that works out. Outside of that, you got anything else to say about it?
The cover for the next issue is previewed at the end of the book, and there's a little bit of a spoiler that's not revealed in the art on the last page of this book. So that could be a pretty significant development for the character that's depicted. It's who you think it is, but because of the coloration of the character, you don't necessarily jump to that conclusion immediately, so that anyone picking up the next issue and taking a look at the cover may not immediately figure out who that is actually that is fighting the Daughters of the Dragon and Spider-Man. It's not a spoiler, it's literally the cover for the next issue. So but it's revealed at the end of this issue who that is, or at least who we're supposed to think it is. We're pretty sure that's who it is, but as I said, the developments that are depicted on the cover for issue 92, not necessarily what we see here, but you know, it could be an interesting development for the character who has been, I don't know, stagnant. Stagnant maybe is not the word, but at the same time, you know, we've seen this character have a family kind of drift in and out of the continuity story, and this could prove to be a development for the better to, you know, to advance the character a little bit. We'll see. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, I'm just kind of waiting to see what the deal is. So yeah, I don't know. It could be just like, yeah, here this character is, and then they'll just deal with it or deal with him or something. I don't know. That being the case, we can move on to another book. Did you read that, Miles? What if, or
no? Go ahead.
Okay.
I did not read
no,
that.
No. I can do that in rapid fire then. See what else you got up in here. Actually, let's. All right. You know what? Here's a nice little 1-2. We'll do She-Hulk number 2.
Sure.
Okay.
She-Hulk number 2. Alrighty.
Let's see. I could do the creative team.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Okay. Just need a moment. I did not have a chance to type in any of my creative teams this week, so I am literally scrolling through my my collection of preview copies here, folks. So just bear with me.
Shout out to this Jen Bartel cover.
So She-Hulk number 2 is written by Rainbow Rowell with art by Roger or I'm not sure how the umlaut changes the pronunciation or the accent. I forget what the name of that accent is. But Roger Antonio is the artist, credited as the artist. Hard to say whether or not this is pencils or digital. Rico Renzi is the color artist, and this is lettered by, again, our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. So this book picks up right where we left off at the end of She-Hulk number 1 with the reintroduction of what was kind of, I guess, unknown but more likely forgotten by me, that being the relationship that Jack of Hearts has with She-Hulk and had developed, I guess, in the pages of his run on the Avengers when he was, I want to say it was Jeff Johns' Avengers.
Yeah, when
this is post Kurt Busiek.
When they were both on the team together, and I want to say this was right before Disassembled. I don't remember time is weird. But I feel like it was kind of around that time.
Right, and this is a long time ago,
Right.
folks. This is not recent history by any means. So ultimately, this pairing of characters, unbeknownst to me, they had developed some sort of relationship, romantic or otherwise, and it's been rekindled in the pages of this She-Hulk book, and is actually spilling over into the pages of the Fantastic Four book, written by Dan Slott, that also came out this week. But in this issue, we have a little bit of a recap of what Jack of Hearts may or may not have been up to, and what led to his apparent demise back in the pages of Avengers. That's what we sort of remember happening back then. And it seems that Jack's status quo has changed. His physical status quo has changed, as revealed in the pages of this book. And I won't spoil that, but it's basically stuff that Jack himself has to work through, because he is not how he remembers. Right. His status now, his physical status, is not now as he remembers it was when he, prior to being presumably resurrected somehow. Right. We have a little bit of a catch up with Jen Walters in her new lawyer job, now that she has kind of decided to go green, closer to full time, now that she's regained some of her old clothes as a result of the events of the first issue, and regaining an older crash pad / apartment from Janet Van Dyne. And we won't go into the cliffhanger so much that's at the end of this issue, but I will leave it at, it seems to set up the premise of, one, why we're getting Jack of Hearts back, and two, whether or not there is a villain somewhere pulling strings behind the scenes in this opening arc of She-Hulk. Your thoughts?
Right. So, outside of that, the one thing that I was tripping about was, like, during the reading of this, I'm thinking, like, okay, he's recounting his quote unquote his escape, which apparently was a thing, but not in the way that it was led to believe, during the recounting, I guess. And I guess there still is another question or two that could come out of it, but nothing, nothing that couldn't be explained about. Was like, well, he was energy, so I guess he got collected or something. We don't, I don't, which, he didn't really die. He was just, he just dispersed, basically. But also, there's parts of when he quote unquote died that I don't remember. But the one thing that did kind of stick into my mind is, like, where the hell was he when Jen was gamma bombed Jen, like, back during Avengers? Because all the while he was thinking, like, he was too scared to touch her, because part of that Avengers storyline was he was draining her gamma energy, which was the thing. And apparently that is not happening now. But I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, well, oh yeah, that is right. So, and he even, because they even explained how he found her again, coincidentally. And I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, wait, so, and I never realized this probably happened after the fact, but I'm sitting here thinking, like, well, wait a minute. If he was, how long was he looking for her? How did he not know where she was during when she was way bigger during the Avengers, before they took care of that part? Like, that could have been a way simpler explanation. So, or another way to take care of it, I should say. But then you figure it is what it is. Outside of that, yeah, I guess we'll get to see, who else is come into play here, and why Jack of Hearts is coming back for any reason. Because this is not the only book that Jack of Hearts has appeared in the last couple of weeks, by the way. Which is weird. I have never really cared for that character, so the fact that he's back for any reason is beyond me. And also the fact that it was like, wait, Jen, you just got this new apartment. He found you. Y'all just all of a sudden getting a relationship back together again just that quick? Like, how and why you're doing this? Like there should be some a little bit of time, but as we see in the pages of Fantastic Four, which I guess we can go ahead and talk about in a second.
Sure.
Like they're kind of like they never left. I mean, like they never like things were never the thing. So that's kind of weird. So yeah. So yeah, we can move on to Fantastic Four number 41 now.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's nice to give Jen a foil,
sure,
because they've already dealt with Titania. So, when I say foil, it's not necessarily an opposite or a villain, but also someone who, someone with powers that can kind of
play off
interact with her.
Right.
Whether or not it's a true love interest, I don't know if that's where Rainbow Rowell wants to technically go, but we'll see how that develops. It's only the second issue.
True, but in Fantastic Four, she's calling him honey. So
right. I mean, but that's that. I was about to say that was going to be my qualification.
Right.
Is that we don't know if that's where Rainbow Rowell wants to go, at least right away, but maybe Slott, is putting in his own twist in the pages of the Fantastic Four, which we'll get to now.
Gotcha.
So Fantastic Four number 41 is written by Dan Slott, the aforementioned Dan Slott, with art by Rachel Stott, colors by Eric Arciniega, and letters once again by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. So we are in the thick of the Reckoning War, and the issue opens with the Watchers having a Council of Watchers meeting, and things don't exactly go the way Uatu wanted them to. But meanwhile, in Shi'ar space, the FF is making a break of the FF minus let's say the FF minus Johnny Storm, but with the replacement Jack of Hearts as the fourth member of the FF, make a break for Shi'ar space and are headed towards the M'Kraan crystal of X-Men lore, more familiar to the readers of the X-Men, and the Prosilicons, or the Reckoning, that as they've been kind of reintroduced into the Marvel continuity, are there already. They're headed for the M'Kraan crystal, and we're starting to get flashbacks to things that have been foreshadowed in the pages of Slott's Fantastic Four run, but as it is with lots of fortune telling / future seeing slash there's a technical word for it. What's the there's a fancy word for looking into the future.
Foreshadowing?
No, not foreshadowing. Like actually looking, like magically looking into the future. Not scrying, but
I was about to say soothsaying, but that's not.
No. But there's a
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
There's a word that I'm looking for, and it's literally because I literally put out a bunch of synonyms for it. But at the end of the day, we've grown accustomed to the storytelling format. I don't want to say trope, but the format where what is being foretold doesn't exactly happen the way it was foretold. There's a twist to it. And the twist here is that Ben seems to have seen his ending, but it doesn't exactly happen the way, things don't exactly happen the way he was, the way he had seen foretold. And there is a twist to it. Ultimately, what we're left with in that encounter is that She-Hulk's role and why all of this may or may not be her fault still has not been resolved, but we kind of leave the crew that's by the M'Kraan crystal thinking about her role in it. And I will let Roddykat pick up at this point and talk about what Johnny Storm has been up to since he stormed off in hot-headed rage to tend to the planet of Spire.
Right. So two things. Yeah. I guess that encounter left Ben I don't want to say half the man that he was, but part of apparently part of the man that he was in that space. But but also that this is some stuff, like we said the last time we talked about it, some stuff that is coming from Slott's run of She-Hulk also, which is why her part, I guess, is coming into play. But yeah, so Johnny stormed off to boom, 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 to Spire last issue because Annihilus was coming with an annihilation wave, and the, what do they call them? What is that group of their group of superheroes?
The Unparalleled.
The Unparalleled. Thank you. We're basically.
I got sick and tired of reading that, to be honest. I was like, the Unparalleled. Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah. So the Unparalleled were doing the best they could to kind of hold off the situation until Johnny comes in. And I love how Winnow was like, we might need to change our name because his entrance was very much unparalleled. So yeah, so Johnny comes in kind of like a boss and just takes care of Annihilus, as he has done before, I guess.
Right. I mean, at this point, forgive me for interrupting, but at this point, he seems to be on a Fire Lord or even stronger level.
Yeah.
You know, he's juiced up to the point where he may be Herald of Galactus level or stronger, because I don't think we've ever seen, and obviously this is a storytelling, this is a storytelling point for Slott here, but I don't know if we've ever seen the Surfer take on Annihilus that way.
That's true. They're usually not necessarily toe to toe, but they're usually somewhat evenly matched, I guess, or
right,
somewhat paralleled.
Right. So that's why I hesitate to say whether or not Johnny's at Fire Lord level. He may actually be exceeding Fire Lord level at this point. You know, you have to use Fire Lord as the comparative, as the comparable here, because he is, you know, the traditional cosmic powered flame character. You know, Frankie Ray Nova being another one. But it seems that Johnny Storm at this point, thanks to Victor Von Doom, has been powered up beyond their levels.
Right. Thanks to also to himself for
for being a serial philanderer.
Yeah, basically for being the reason why Victor did what he did to him. But yeah, so and actually speaking of Heralds of Galactus, could we get one last bit at the end of this issue of Silver Surfer and others in Asgard, as they are seemingly trying to I guess not necessarily get it over the way. Let's just say, I guess, trying to
well, it's not really a spoiler because it was teased in the last issue.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true too.
So if you're not up to date, right? If you're not up to date, we apologize. It's a minor spoiler, but at the end of the day, the Heralds, if you're not familiar with what happened in the pages of Thor, Galactus bit the dust
again.
Yeah, essentially at the hands of Thor early on in the Kate's run, the recent run. And now, story-wise, they need to bring Galactus back. And so they're going to engineer a way to bring Galactus back. And that's what we get here. Yeah, and it also involves Thor for reasons that are apparent if you've read the recent Kate's run on Thor.
Right. Because actually, I'm trying to remember. I feel like for some sort of reason, I felt like I read where he was, but I guess if that wasn't Thor, maybe I didn't. But
well, you probably read like the first couple of issues of that run and then maybe fell off.
Maybe, I don't know. For some strange reason, it didn't surprise me that Thor was involved with this, because he had helped out Galactus at one point, and because pretty much mostly everybody who is still around, who has been a herald of Galactus or had some similar mantle to him, kind of came over to Asgard to help resurrect Galactus. And it just so happens that now the one shocker was the Destroyer, who also plays a major part in this, was, I guess, once a herald or something.
Right, that's old. That's a very old callback. That's an old pull, that Slott decided to put into the story.
Right.
But obviously, with the cosmic powers at hand, and obviously Uru being an enchanted moon rock metal, being what it is, what they transformed the destroyer into is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Some would say metal.
Oh no! Goodness gracious.
So yeah, so Galactus is kind of sort of back, I guess. We'll see how long that sticks, because the Life Bringer didn't stick that long, and I like that version.
So. I mean, it was an interesting twist, but and this version probably won't stay that long. But while it is, so.
So yeah, and of course this is all in the service of Reckoning War, which is going on. So we'll see how that gets used in the next issue to come. How many?
Right, and it's an easy. What's funny is that before we move on, this was a quick reminder as to why the Iron Man stories are functioning the way they're functioning, because this is what happened to Galactus. It's a quick reminder for anyone who's not up on the Cates Thor run as to what's been going on with the World Eater.
Right. So yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that is a good point about Iron Man, but yeah, never the two will meet, I suppose.
Right.
So yeah, that is Fantastic Four 41. I guess, I don't know. Did you have another book you want to do, or you want to go ahead and wrap it?
No, we'll go rapid fire.
Okay.
It's all good. I will spin it up.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Alrighty. Do you have a lot more books than I do? I think we probably have a little bit of crossover, no?
I think we do have a little. I think I got like one less book than you.
All right. Do you want me to lead off?
Sure.
All right. So Batman number 121. This is the last issue of what appears to have been kind of a filler arc, as it were. But it's still being, it's still being done by the Prime creative team of writer Joshua Williamson, with Jorge Molina and Mikel Janin on art, Tomo Mori on colors, and Clayton Cowles on letters. So this kind of filler arc, as it were, I think has some purpose, and I'll tell you what that purpose is without spoiling everything. But at the end of the day, in Badonesia, this awful, awful fake country, Batman has found a way to reinvigorate, this is really without me spoiling anything that happens in the story. The storytellers here have found a way to reinvigorate the concept of Batman Incorporated. It's teased that Ghostmaker may be going off in that direction. Luthor is established as a player in the Batman corner of the DC universe. Not that he hasn't been before, but he's definitely been set up as someone who is not happy about what has happened in these recent issues. And at the end of this issue, we find that Batman is in fact returning to Gotham City just in time for a storyline involving Deathstroke the Terminator, and there is a big quote-unquote alpha issue coming up that is, I guess, the precursor to the main crossover of Shadow War. So I think that is the Gotham-centric event book that's coming out in the near future.
Oh yeah, and yeah, because I'm not sure if I mentioned it when I talked about that Deathstroke Inc. book, because it definitely has something to do with that. Like there was some stuff going on that's probably leading into all of this.
Got it. Alrighty, next up is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Yo Joe #1. So this is one of those kind of trade paper. It's kind of a trade. It's kind of an issue that collects several older stories for they kind of repurpose 4 issues: G.I. Joe, Real American Heroes, number 24, 50, 205, and 286, all written by the illustrious Larry Hama with art by a whole bunch of people. The first 2 books are from the Marvel era, and the last 2 books are from the IDW era. And it's just a collection of fun stories. I really had an interesting time reading the last issue, which is one of the IDW books where Larry Hama decided to fill in, kind of retcon in a little bit of a development into the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow origin stories that were told in the original Marvel run. So I had some fun reading that particular issue in this compilation. So this is really a 4-issue compilation, and if you are interested in just reading up on some older G.I. Joe issues, it is, it's kind of like a fun little, one and done. It's not necessarily an anthology. It's really just a small collection.
Okay, so they're not like necessarily tied together. Those stories not necessarily tied together, are they?
I think what it is that the main tie is that there's some connection to Storm Shadow in the issues. There's definitely but that's like it's a fairly tenuous thread.
Gotcha. And they're not doing anything from the movie. They're not tying it to that Snake Eyes movie, are they?
Not from what I recall, but at the end of the day, I've never really watched that Snake Eyes movie all the way through.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because as soon as I saw it pop up as a false lead on a let's just say
an illustrious
on an alternate I was going to say on an alternate means of watching things.
Yes. Gotcha.
So, but next up is Avengers Forever #3. So just need a moment to get back to this. This book is written by Jason Aaron with pencils by Aaron Cooter, inks by Cam Smith and Scott Hanna, and colors by Guru EFX. So this is, I thought, an interesting approach to establishing this reality's Avengers. I thought that the choice of characters that Aaron puts in to this reality's Avengers was eclectic enough to be interesting. I don't know if you read this book, Roddykat?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay. So if you do get a chance to read this, it's a pretty eclectic mix. We're kind of used to seeing Avengers, and whenever we're dealing with the multiverse, whenever creators pick their variant lineups for variant, for these variant teams, be they Avengers, X-Men, New Mutants, etc. It's always interesting to see which characters they choose, and it was very much an interesting group of characters that Jason Aaron decided to pick here. I'll say that at the end of the issue, it plays out in very much very much a suspenseful way, and the way this story ends on a cliffhanger makes all the sense in the world. The suspense is fraught throughout, but a very logical development happens at the end of the issue. So I will leave it at that. Next up is Black Panther #4. I would guess that you read this issue. I did not have a chance to scroll through your list.
I actually did not.
Okay, so I will obviously tread very lightly. This book is written by John Ridley with art by Juan Cabal and Ibrahim Mustafa. Colors are by Matt Miller. Letters are by VC's Joe Sabino. So we pick up at the beginning of this issue on Arakko. right? Which is where the last issue kind of spanned, you know, the story of the last issue kind of spanned. But we quickly leave Arakko, and without spoiling too much, there's a development in Wakanda involving Shuri that revolves around the storyline that has gone through the first 3 issues of this Ridley scripted Black Panther volume. That being of a sleeper agents now seeming to maybe take shots at people who knew about the sleeper agent program that T'Challa had put into effect. Right, and Shuri becomes involved, but we also have a little bit of a twist that is in the story involving the sleeper agents themselves, and that is where this issue builds up to a minor cliffhanger at the end of the issue, but the twist in the issue involves the sleeper agents. Next up is Daredevil Woman Without Fear, number 3 of 3. So this is the last issue of this Devil's Reign miniseries involving Elektra, the second Daredevil in the Marvel Universe. It's written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Rafael de la Torre. Colors are by Federico Blee, and letters are by VC's Clayton Cowles. So this issue wraps up this kind of side quest, as it were, as the Devil's Reign story envelops all of these New York City-based characters, and Elektra basically takes on a character from her past, as well as a character hired by this character. One Craven the Hunter is hired by this character from Elektra's past. And the issue leaves us with 2, I want to say 2, maybe even 3 cliffhangers. Because what's spoiled in this issue actually hasn't occurred yet in the Devil's Reign limited series, probably due to production delays, possibly COVID related, we don't know. Supply chain related even, but we don't know. But ultimately, that is one cliffhanger. It's something that actually is published in the pages of Devil's Reign number 5, which has not yet seen print, or at least publication for our review. The second cliffhanger is a turn for Elektra towards vengeance, a bloodthirstiness that she's been trying to shed as a result of her foray into the Daredevil character. And the third cliffhanger, which may result in this book becoming a sought-after collectible, we're not sure, but we get the appearance of the newly clad Frank Castle, the newly costumed Frank Castle. And if you've been following our show and following some of the comic book news, you know that there is a new development for Frank Castle. And it's definitely character-driven, and it's an interesting take on where they want to bring the character of the Punisher. So that actually is where this issue leaves off. So we actually have 3 cliffhangers, 3 story threads that are left to be picked up in other books. All right, next up is Moon Knight number 9, and I think Roddykat may have read this.
Yep.
All right, so in Moon Knight number 9, I'm going to scroll. All right, this book is written by Jed McKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio. Colors are by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters are by VC's Corey Pettit. So this issue starts a new story arc with Moon Knight, and it's kind of a one and done. But it's an interesting one and done because Jed MacKay here, this is my understanding as it's established here, delves deeper into the history of Doctor Strange and the occult and pulls out a character that Doctor Strange had dealt with many, many moons ago, pun intended. Oh no.
Yes.
So this is a character that is proved that proves to be made of use. That's how I'll put it.
Yes.
In the pages of Moon Knight in a very interesting way. And it also shows that Moon Knight does not have to always be the glutton for punishment, as it were. Doesn't necessarily have to be the character that solves everything with a crescent dart and a fist. But in this issue, actually kind of kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
In his own fashion.
Yeah.
In a very interesting way.
Yep.
And the cliffhanger at the end, the cliffhanger page at the end of the issue sets up. I don't know if this is a returning character or not. I did not have a chance to Google it, but I don't know if this is a returning villain for Moon Knight that they are teasing a return for. But that is apparently what is going to happen in the next issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, actually. Now that you mentioned that. But yeah, so one, here I'm thinking, like, Marvel doesn't have a character like this one DC character that I know about. Shout out to Danny the Street. If you DC folks know who or what the hell Danny the Street is, congratulations. But apparently this is not necessarily a similar type character, but I guess you could kind of make a slight parallel within some semblance of it. But yeah, and I guess they just gloss over the fact. Well, they did mention at the beginning that he's Mark's out of jail because the last issue we had the other dude, Hunter's Moon, and now Mark is back because of Devil's Reign. So does Devil's Reign say anything about what happened to the other dude, or is that just like and then I guess they'll hand it over here?
I think all they ever do in Devil's Reign, at least in the main miniseries, from what I recall, is that they show Mark Spector in jail.
Right. So they don't show him getting out or Hunter's Moon.
No, the last issue that we saw of Devil's Reign, I think the breakout had started. So they're moving towards the culmination of that series.
Gotcha. Okay, and possibly due to, like you say, whatever being behind or whatever possible forces caused books to be shifted could have delayed that. Gotcha. Okay, but outside of that, that's all I was curious about.
Alrighty, next up for me is Strange #1. I think Roddykat read this book also.
I had not, but I was actually just skimming it.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't spoil anything, but I will say that it was actually a pretty good read. So this book is written by Jed MacKay with pencils by Marcelo Ferreira, inks by Don Ho Tiny Bubbles with Roberto Poggi. Colors are by Java Tartaglia with Felipe Sobrero, and letters are by VC's Corey Pettit. I had a pretty good time reading this. I can't deny that I am not all that familiar with Clea. And spoiler alert, Clea has become the new Sorcerer Supreme. Eye of Agamotto, and Cloak of Levitation and all, and including the 177A Bleecker Street address. So this issue opens up with Dr. Doom making a play for the title of Sorcerer Supreme, and Clea saying that she's the one that's got it, not nanny boo boo to Dr. Doom.
I did enjoy that part.
Right. Wong remains ever the we're not going to call him a servant anymore. He's not the manservant, but he's definitely the second to the Sorcerer Supreme in this dimension. And Wong remains steadfast in his duties as being the second to the Sorcerer Supreme. And as he and Clea go out for some coffee because Wong is hungover, maybe he's out training the Abomination. I don't know if that's an MCU tie-in or not, but at the end of the day, Wong is out carousing and he needs some coffee to deal with his mystical hangover. And Clea is more than down to go out and get some because apparently this dimension's coffee does not stack up to the Dark Dimension's coffee. She wants that Dark Dimension dark roast. Ultimately, there is a foe that Clea has to take on that proves to be, proves to be, I think, an effective setup for a future set of villains or villain. Once that foe is taken care of, there is a goal that is established in this issue. And the goal, and I'm not going to spoil it for Roddykat because he is skimming this issue, but there's a goal, I think, for this miniseries. But apparently, the goal begets another character making a surprise return. It's not the character you think it is because, of course, we had this one character make a surprise return in the death of Doctor Strange. But no, it's another character at the end of the issue. I don't know if you've gotten to that point.
No, not yet.
So it's another character. It's a very big surprise. You're basically left with, not with a who, but with a huh. You know, and now that makes me, I got to write down that I've got to find a huh sound effect. Because I definitely was like, what the hell is going on here? So, you know, it was a very interesting ending to a very interesting cliffhanger ending to this issue. Next up for me is, last but not least, finally, is X-Men number 9. Now there's some weird stuff going on in X-Men. So, first up, this issue is written by Jerry Duggan with art by C.F. Villa, who we know is a solid artist from his time on Black Cat. The colors are by Marte Gracia and letters are by VC's Clayton Cowles. So there are a few things afoot in this issue, and which serve to move several plot threads forward. First being what's been happening over the course of the last several X-Men issues with Orchis and what they've been trying to uncover. If you have not been keeping up, Orchis has gotten wind of the resurrection protocols and is trying to destroy any public confidence that the X-Men may be enjoying at this time. Meanwhile, Orchis is also looking to take advantage of what MODOK has been doing in the pages of X-Men recently. So that partnership seems to be in its infancy, but is definitely developing. We have, unfortunately, and I'm not a fan of this Destiny character, but you know, at the end of the day, they're looking to develop a lot of older, once long thought dead characters in the pages of X-Men into new and different versions because of the resurrection protocol. So we get a little bit of developments in terms of Destiny. We also have a nice little cameo from Cosmo, the space cosmonaut dog, which is fun.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
No. I was just flipping, so I needed to get my bearings on this because it was a nice, unexpected cameo appearance for Cosmo. Because nowhere has been destroyed, if I'm not mistaken, in the Marvel universe, and that's why Cosmo is at this new location, which is where Destiny has been hanging out, thanks to the instant teleportation of the Krakoan gates. And Rogue and Gambit kind of catch up with someone who is now considered to be Gambit's in-law. And that's a big element of this particular part of the story.
Right. Gotcha.
Right. And we end up the beginning of this issue and the end of this issue tied together with a tease of something that happened during Ten of Swords coming back for the Arakans, the people on Araco, aka Mars, possibly having to saddle up and maybe rescue one of their fallen that occurred, and this casualty happened during Ten of Swords. So that is how this issue ends. I don't remember all of Ten of Swords, so I felt like this development didn't hit me the way it should have if I had been keeping up with Ten of Swords. But I thought that this overall was a pretty well executed issue. This definitely pulled and pushed several storylines forward. And that's it for me.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually reading this now that you mentioned it, because I was like, I'm thinking like, wait, Gambit and this other character haven't and this in-law haven't interacted with each other since they've been married. So that's, if it's who I'm thinking of.
Well, remember this character is only recently resurrected. Only very recently resurrected.
Oh, wait, so it's not who I'm thinking
it's
about.
The other half. It's the other half. It's the resurrected half.
Okay.
Right? Think about it.
No,
if we have one in-law that we know.
Right. And I was thinking of that particular in-law.
Exactly. That's why I was just trying to lead you down that road.
Right. Because I was just like, well, no, that person's been around, but they've just not have been, I guess, no interaction. But anyway, okay, interesting. I'm still looking forward to checking this out. And two, to go back to Strange for a second, they resurrected that, or they're bringing that person back.
Now you absolutely get where I was coming from.
Right.
Now you get it. I kind of got a kick out of that. And I'll tell you that Strange #1, despite that, or maybe because of that, is actually a candidate for Click of the Week for me. Because I got a kick out of reading it. Obviously, you skimmed it, but I had a good time reading about Clea. And I'm sorry to backtrack to Strange, but I had a good time reading about Clea in that issue.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, the part that I read in the beginning, like I enjoyed that, but then I was just kind of rushing through the rest of it because it was kind of what it was, and then it got to the last page. I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
And also, secondly, outside of that, like when you mentioned Dark Dimension, Dark Roast, I immediately went to searching to see if there was such a thing actually. No such luck. However, there is a organic Wicked Wolf coffee that is out there, and of course, like Double Dead. And still like that kind of stuff. So sad. Oh, excuse me. Father of all dark roast is also out there for you coffee lovers. But I'm sitting here like, surely they would have a Dark Dimension dark roast out there somewhere. Surely, but sadly they do not. All right. Anyway, let me get to my books. Scroll. Magic #12. I was gonna say something about Jed McKay because I guess I will use this time right now to mention that we like Jed McKay's writing around these parts. He's
doing good stuff.
Yeah, he's doing some real fun stuff. We may have some actual news about some stuff he's doing in the news. But anyway, Magic #12, written by Jed McKay, illustrated by Jacques Salomon, and that just reminded me of something from Picard. But anyway. Colors by Ariana Consani, Aladdin Kohler, Valerio Aloro, Francesca Vivaldi, Luciana Giamarino, and Protobunker's Ferdinando Cifuentes. There was a lot of hands on this book. And letters by Ed Dukeshire, per usual. So basically, we got 3 planeswalkers. Stop me if you heard this one. 3 planeswalkers go into a bar, sit down, have a little chit chat because they all have common goals. They basically with that common goal decide to set out and accomplish said goal. So they're all on a quest to do their separate things, but they're all aligned in a certain way. they are going after a couple of other people who are. They're basically trying to find a way to get to Ravnica, which has been closed off, thanks to a couple of whatever happened a couple of issues ago that we still don't know necessarily what is going on there. But they're trying to get to Ravnica so they can get to Kaya, and one of them's got to try to kill one of the people that's involved that may or may not be involved with this. So, you know, a little bit of fun for everybody. So basically we have 3 different planeswalkers as opposed to that last arc going on the quest. And at the end of this, they seem to have a lot more in common than you would think at the beginning. But, you know, we kind of, you know, we get into that. It's a fun book. And at the end, we get to see who... I'm not familiar with the character that comes at the end, whether this is a big bad in a mechanical form or an actual other character whose form that I'm not familiar in the Magic the Gathering parlance. I have played some of the game, but there are some things there's not a lot of stuff I don't know. Presumably, I'm going to presume that this is someone speaking through a Clockwork Dragon, which is a card in Magic the Gathering, or it could be something that I don't know. Like I said, well, I guess we'll find out next. I'm sure someone more familiar with Magic lore will probably know who that is, or maybe possibly what that is that shows up at the end. But there is that. Next book, Transformers Beast Wars, number 13. Written by Eric Burnham, art by Winston Chan, colors by Sid Vinblue, letters Jake M. Wood. So, basically we have a Cheetor-centric story because there was a battle at the beginning. I guess there's some, and this is the kind of thing that's probably would have happened during Beast Wars, the show. If you've watched the show Beast Wars, this is kind of a retelling or I guess a kind of a reimagining of that story. Doesn't go the same way that particular story did. There's definitely some newer characters that never showed up in the show, and a few other little wrinkles. So yeah, this is kind of a reboot or reimagining of it. Regardless of the face, regardless of it, this is a kind of a Cheeto-centric thing. There is a callback to a particular G1. I guess I don't know if he's G1 or G2. A particular G1 Transformers character who Cheetor gets into a race with, but all of it is pretty much machinations of the alien Vok who were pretty much trying to get the Cybertronians either off their planet or, you know, stop fighting for reasons. And I believe the Vok were the aliens that were kind of somewhere around that era of Transformers. So there's that. Oh, next book, Star Trek Mirror War, Geordi. Okay. Let's see. As I get the thing, bink. Well, I guess it says Captain LaForge, but regardless. So Star Trek Mirror War Geordi is written by Jay Hawtham, art by Carlos Rodriguez, colors by DC Alonso, and letters by Neil Uwatake. So basically this is I guess a one and done centered around Mirror Geordi LaForge. So there's been another one. I think there was a mirror another one shot with Data that happened a while ago, and I think there's going to be another one with the Mirror Ben Sisko that is also happening. So there's so during this whole Mirror War thing, they're kind of doing it up a little bit with these one shots. But the crux of this is Geordi's been captured. He's been interrogated for some reason, but it all is basically a plot device to get him to go back, and we get some information on Geordi's backstory, or excuse me, Mirror Geordi's backstory. Never confuse the two. This is all set in the Mirror universe. I shouldn't have to do that, but hey, nevertheless, we will go. So we get a lot of backstory into Mirror Geordi, but it all pretty much is a test for some strange reason. Because the person behind it was not the person I thought who was behind it. But it's, like I said, it was pretty much a means to get some backstory out of Mirror Geordi. And that is that. Let's see, next book. What if Miles Morales becomes Captain America? Where is it? Here we go. Bing. Man, these covers are really giving me the business tonight. All right, there we go. Written by Cody Ziegler, art by Paco Medina, inks by Walden Wong, Victor Alazaba, Sean Parsons, color artist Chris Sotomayor, and letters by VC's Corey Pettit. So, as the name implies, it is a what-if story. So instead of Miles getting spider powers, he becomes Captain America. No thanks to his Uncle Aaron, who is pretty much in any universe is up to no good. There are some familiar beats along the way, and some not so familiar beats along the way. I don't know if Agent 70, you plan on reading this, but you're muted, I think.
I was just looking. I was just looking at the book. Actually, probably not. You know, feel free to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you will. Let's put it this way: you will see this character again because of the events of Miles Morales proper. So, and I believe it looks like they're going to do another one shot of one of the others. I'm seeing not a one shot, another what if of the other one of the other characters. Because even in this book, you kind of see shades of like, hey, here's these other characters that this character ends up coming that sees in a dimensional portal. Because you know, there's his version, its version of Red Skull, which is basically Tombstone. Gonki's the Tinkerer. Sam Wilson is Nick Fury. Of course, Tiana Toombs, aka Starling, is Falcon, and yes, they are dating. So, you know, there's some familiar beats. His mom and dad still his mom and dad. And Uncle Aaron pretty much was the one responsible for Miles getting the not only getting the super soldier serum in a way, which I won't spoil that, but you know, it doesn't matter because it happens. And something happens once again to Uncle Aaron, and of course, almost in true Captain America fashion, comes back. And you'd be surprised. You won't be surprised at who he comes back as. Put it that way. So, there is that. But like I said, this is seemingly in service of kind of adding to that whole that Miles Morales adventure that he's about to go on that we've seen the beginnings of last week. So there is that. Next book is Spider-Woman number 20. I gotta say this one, for at least for it saying nothing happens in this book, which is not entirely true, but is not entirely untrue. This was a fun read. This was kind of a fun read. Carla Pacheco is kind of having fun with this book, and I've been enjoying it. It's a potential click of the week for me, I dare say. But yes, writer Carla Pacheco, art by Perry Perez, color artist Frank Darmada, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So we get to meet the members of the anti-Iraq 9, with spelled Iraq and the number 9. But it seems like they're having a recruitment drive, which is kind of amusing the whole way through. And let's just say it's a whole motley crew that tries to try out. There's even a little bit of, if you know the Batman, the animated series story, Almost Got Him. there feels like a little bit of that in there. It doesn't necessarily go off the same way, but I feel like there's a little bit of that energy in there in one particular part. That was kind of fun. Not necessarily threw a rock at them, but kind of close. And that was kind of fun. But regardless, like I said, the whole thing was this whole recruitment drive. We see, I think, of everybody. Obviously, there's some people that show up from the past couple of volumes, and they're involved in this. But there's a kind of amusing thing with a couple of sets of brothers, one newer and one very older from Spider-Woman's, let's call it Rogues Gallery, that kind of show up to try to get into this group. So I was like, wow, damn, where have they been? Because I don't think I've seen them in a good minute. But regardless, like I said, you just pretty much see this whole thing going off, and at the end, well, and in the meantime, Jess and Lindsay are basically setting up to go to Madripoor because of some thing that Lindsay did and some detective work that could also be going on there, because Jess used to be a detective. But at the end of the book, both of those things kind of come together, and I guess we'll see what happens next issue with that whole thing. Although, I suppose, given who's in the apartment, that the fight with all those people shouldn't last as long, but we'll see. My last book, which I also kind of skimmed through. Boy, I wish I had read Static Season 1, number 6, but I didn't get a chance to. That's sad. And I don't have the original cover for this, but Star Wars number 21. So the cover you're seeing right now is a variant cover, but and not the main cover. But it's written by Charles Soule, art by Marco Castillo and Raymond Sanas, colors by Rochelle Rosenberg, and letters by VC's Clayton Cowles. So this is picking up from a thread that you would think had been dealt with in a minute, let's just say, because Shara Bay, who is Poe Dameron's mother, was basically behind enemy line. She basically not necessarily got shot down, but she got trapped on a Star Destroyer called the Tarkin's Will, and had been hiding out for probably months or so. I'm not sure how long it's been, because it's been a good minute since they've even mentioned like well before the whole Crimson Reign thing. But she had been hiding out and basically sabotaging stuff and doing a good job and trying to fend for herself while she's been on here. But the Empire pretty much finally caught wind of her after all of this time. And at the end, one particular Imperial soldier kind of let's just say caught up with Shara and yeah, something's going to happen with that, I assume. But meanwhile, it sounds like the Resistance is trying to mount a rescue of her some kind of way. Will it be too late? We don't know. Dun dun dun. And that is my books of the week. So now we can go to Clicks of the Week.
Clicks of the Week.
We actually got one from one of our co-hosts. Tim said he's going to go with X-Men number 9. So cool.
I get that. I do. That whole middle section dealing with Rogue, Gambit, and Gambit's new in-law. It was interesting, but it was also nice that several storylines, as I said earlier, were carried forward.
Hey, wait! I just thought about something. Technically, he has 2 in-laws. Well, I guess 3 because of this. I don't know. Unless that's the one you're talking about. I have to read it for myself because I just thought about somebody else. That whole family history thing is weird.
Yeah, that one is definitely weird.
Yeah,
they've done a lot with Mystique over the years.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have yours in mind? Because I have a couple of candidates, and as I was mentioning, I don't know, was this on the show or was it just before we started recording where I was talking about art?
That was before the show.
So I just wanted to reiterate something that I was talking about before the show. I felt like this week's books, and I don't know if it's because of February being only 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or if this ends up being like a 5th week release here in March, but I felt like there were several books that had weaker showings on art than I had been used to. There are a couple of books here that were consistent, like that She-Hulk book is consistent because it's only the 2nd issue, and I think the art team is going to stay in place at least for the first several issues. The Moon Knight is consistent. Alessandro Cappuccio has been on that book for a little while now, but I felt like there were some really tough showings in terms of the art that I saw in the books that I read and reviewed this week. But I think a pleasant surprise for me, even though the art was a little hit and miss at times, was Strange #1, and I think I'm going to go with Strange #1 as my click of the week this week because I had no expectations coming into this issue, and I was definitely pleasantly surprised, and also had the reaction at the end of the book that we were talking about before. So I'm going to go with Strange #1 as my pick click of the week this week.
Okay, I feel like I want to reread that whole thing. I'm pretty sure it's not going to change the reaction for that, because I don't even know if anything prior to that happening suggested anything like that was going to happen. But I do know, because of what Clea is trying to do, something was going to happen. Didn't expect that. Put it that way. So for myself, though, no, that She-Hulk book was alright. No. Magic #12 was fun. Fantastic Four, from what I read, was alright. Spider-Woman #20 definitely was a fun one for me. And I'm thinking that one, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and do that one. Like I said, I like the first page of the book was like, no, absolutely nothing's going to happen. No non-action, this and that and the other. And partially that's true, but some things happened, which was kind of what did happen in the book was kind of amusing. I would probably also give it to Strange #1 because if I actually read it in full, even though I did, like I said, I read the first part and I very much enjoyed the conversation between, or the quote unquote, the conversation between Clea and Victor Von Doom was pretty interesting, and how that whole thing went down. But yeah, I'll have to deal with that later. There's a couple other books I was hoping I was going to get around to reading, but I didn't, and I won't go through them right now. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I wish I had gotten around to reading this week. Nevertheless,
right.
What's that?
I mean, what I was going to say is, and I think I said it, but I'll just reiterate it here. I rather enjoyed learning about Clea's character in this issue, and this is obviously one of the only times that she's had a chance to have the spotlight to herself. So I thought McKay did a very good job of laying out why we should care about Clea as the new Sorcerer Supreme.
Right, because I totally forgot, or very much probably didn't even know I guess, part of her history with Steven, because I know they were romantically linked. I wasn't sure how far that went to, and even when it came up in this book, I was like, wait, when did that happen?
Right, but she's been around for so long. Like, she's been around since Ditko on Doctor Strange. So, from the foundation of the character, really.
Right. And probably not too long ago when they were, when they were tied or that closely tied. But I didn't realize they were, like I said, I didn't realize that was the case. But then I kind of can see how that could have happened. But I didn't know they were, like I said, that was their relationship. So interesting. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and reread that though. So, because I am very curious as to how they're going to get from point A to point Z, or at the end of this, it looks like there was already at point Z, but we're not gonna even talk about that. So yeah, that's that. Now we're going to go to the news section, but first an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron. Always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
And we start off as we do every week with the cinematic news. First up, the Arrowverse's first comic accurate Joker, arrives in behind-the-scenes Batwoman photos. So yeah, apparently, so there was an Instagram post by one of the actors in Batwoman. Or I guess it is the person who's playing the Joker. It looks like a kind of an offshoot of a Cesar Romero Joker. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, face shield notwithstanding. Oh, actually, Kendrick. This Kendrick Jackson, I guess, is the kid. If you're watching the video version and not the adult, so never mind. But still an actor in the Batwoman show. So yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see the Instagram post for yourself. So cool. Next up.
I mean, that's an interesting, fairly comic accurate portrayal.
Yeah. True that.
All right. Next up, in a development that falls under the category of, well, of course they're going to do this. The Batman tickets are going to cost more thanks to AMC's new experiment, at least at AMC theaters. So, the Batman is arriving to theaters tonight. As of the time of this recording, we did not go into movie protocol for it, probably because we're still kind of gun shy when it comes to DC EU movies. But from first returns, this movie seems to be getting positive reviews. So hopefully by next week we'll have a chance to watch it. But if you're an AMC customer here in the United States, your ticket may be a little more expensive than usual. Deadline reports that AMC is trying something new to them with their pricing, which will make the Batman tickets more expensive than other films. So this is obviously a money-making opportunity. This is definitely something that is not new when it comes to entertainment dollars. I'll give you a reference. Baseball, basketball, football, all have these, actually more so baseball than most, because there's only 17, I can't believe there's 17 football games now. There used to be 16, but bottom line is, at least in baseball, if we ever get baseball back, because they're all locked out, that's another thing. That's a whole other story for another podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But in baseball, when there is a primetime matchup coming into the home stadium, the home team will generally charge more for tickets because they know that those are the seats those are the tickets. Those are the games that people want to see, want to be live for. They want to be in attendance for. So they will charge more. The example that I can think of right off the top of the dome are Mets tickets for when the Yankees come in to play the Subway Series. Those are more expensive than when the Mets are hosting the Colorado Rockies in a regular old National League matchup. So AMC is not coming up with a new strategy here in the entertainment dollar sphere. This is something that has been going on, but given the wide disparity between comic book adaptation movies and the other movies that seem to not necessarily garner as much attention, it's no surprise that movie theater chains are going to try to make as much money off of these cash cows as possible.
But I feel like, okay, even with that whole analogy that you use, I don't see anything that you're getting out, in anything extra that you're getting out of it. And I guess that's the point for them, because but like, I can see if they did this and it was like, well, here, we'll take $1 off of concessions or something, which I know we're not going to do that, but that's just an example that just came across. Like, I figured you were getting something else out of it. Outside, it was like, hey, you get to pay a whole $1 more to see this movie that we know you want to see. Like, outside of that, I'm like, that's not really worth it to me, but I know there's going to be people that's going to do it.
It's just a bottom line. It's a bottom line issue, I think. They just need that extra $1 or $2.
Well, probably, I don't know about need, but yes, I get that.
Well, no, when I say need, they need to, either come up with money to fulfill some sort of bill they need to pay, or deal with shareholders. So that's what I mean. But ultimately, that's what it comes down to. It's literally the bottom line in this case. You'd think that they would be making more money off of concessions, but
which is what
I think
thinking.
people are but the follow-up point to that is, I think people, even with COVID restrictions being lifted in lots of places, probably too early in my opinion, but even with that happening, I think there are still some people who are maybe a little bit more leery about eating in the theater right now. So they're looking to pick up any extra dollars they can on their bottom line, and so this seems to be the easiest way for them to do it.
Sure. Like, yeah, for that respect, I do get it. I'm like, that's, but that's me. I'm, one, frugal, and two, not really going too many places anyway. Like, I get it on their end, but it still doesn't truck consumer wise. Anyway, so that's the thing. If you've been out, chances are you probably won't even notice. Like, it's $1, or maybe you will. I don't know. I'm pretty sure if people really want to go to the movies, they don't care. They're less discriminating because they just want to get out of the house. So, and they're probably not going to care as much.
You know what I would say before we move on to the next story you got? I would say that because people may not notice as much when they are literally clicking a button on an app to order.
Yes.
If you're going into the box office and they're showing you the number and you have to, slide your card over, or pull out a few bucks out of your pocket, that's, I think, when you'll notice it more. Maybe you'll have a little sticker shock when you're hitting the button to confirm the purchase on your app, but that's the only time you're going to think about it. I think that's the only time it might even cross your mind that it's more expensive.
I feel like you have more faith in people in that respect than I do. But yeah, sure, that is a possibility, though. That is definitely a possibility. I mean, and some people probably even let's be honest, some people might even see it in the app, like you said. So, probably less than what you would think in either respect, but sure, there are definitely going to be people. Huh?
What do you mean?
Well, like
you mean they'll see the difference in price?
Well, like you said they would probably see it a little bit more going to the box office. I am not that confident in that many people caring about it. That yes, there will be some of those people who definitely will probably see it and care.
Yeah, but I just think of where you see where you would experience sticker shock. So when you see it pop up on the little display showing how much you're paying, that's like seeing it like kind of flash in front of your face, it's one thing. When you see it on your phone, you're so kind of dead set on clicking purchase. It's another thing. So that's just been my experience when it comes to buying things digitally and buying things through apps. It's kind of like, well, I've got to do it, so you just click, hello Apple Pay, click,
Yeah,
so
I mean, even going through the app, I know I've done it and be like, wow, these tickets are high as fuck. What is going on here? And that's just me though. Again, that is a totally a me thing. So anyway, Batgirl. Wait, why did I not do? Oh yeah, that's right, because this is different. Batgirl set photos reveal best look at Brendan Fraser's Firefly costume. So yeah, here you go. I am not that familiar with the character of Firefly. I think I remember seeing a version in Gotham who was a gender swap version, and I guess the original was a dude. I don't remember.
You don't remember from the animated series? That's the only reference I have.
Yeah, sure, but okay, yeah, but I wasn't thinking that far. But yes, you're right. That was also the case. But yeah, Brendan Fraser is playing Firefly. If you're watching the video version, you can see set pictures of his costume. And sure,
I mean, prior to Batman the Animated Series, my only reference point for a character named Firefly was from G.I. Joe. The saboteur from Cobra. So that's my only reference. I'm not a big Batman comic book reader, right. So I had never really had any experience with the character Firefly in the comics. So I'm not surprised that Brendan Fraser was cast as Firefly. It's a dude. It's kind of a heavier, but then again, that's the animated series style where all the dudes were really big shouldered and barrel chested. Right. And also, Brendan Fraser, from what I recall right now, is a little on the heavier side. So
yes, but he's also, I guess, he's playing two DC characters. Then that's being the case because I think he's still in Doom Patrol. Playing
as the voice, as the voice of Robot Man.
Right. So, there's that. But I don't know, this whole Batgirl thing. I'm reading the thing and I totally forgot about this. Is being directed by Bad Boys for Life. Bad Boy for Life's Bilal and Falah and Adil El Arbi. That doesn't really give me a whole lot of confidence. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Because Bad Boys for Life was not great.
No, not good at all. Not good. I mean, this project falls definitely under the caring very, very little category for me. Granted, it's on HBO Max, so I'll have a little bit easier time watching it. But it's not something that's very high on my my list of priorities. So whatever comes of it, we'll see what comes of it. Maybe it'll be better than we think.
Right. And the script is being written by apparently Christina Hodson, who did that Birds of Prey movie, which that wasn't too bad.
I still haven't watched that, so.
Oh really? Yeah. And the upcoming Flash movie, which I don't know. So this one's still kind of on the seesaw. Anyway, next up, so Sony Pictures revealed the various pieces of cover art that will accompany the Spider-Man No Way Home physical release on 4K, Ultra HD, and Blu-ray. So the releases have been available through various retailers for pre-order for some time. Best Buy and Target already revealed the official cover for their respective exclusive versions, but now we have the basic versions that you can purchase. And I know a lot of us are probably going to shy away from the physical release, but I won't. I'm definitely going to get mine because although I'm a little behind on picking up my physical versions of Widow and Eternals, it's just been a while. I just haven't really thought about going to purchase them, but I definitely have them on my list to get. So I think No Way Home may push me into catching up on those purchases. But Roddykat, I think, is scrolling through the images and showing us the various disc covers. Yeah, Yeah, I'm on the Best Buy Steelbook one right now. Yeah, I think I just ordered mine from Amazon. So I mean, I can still cancel it. That's not, but I don't see anything here that's gonna be like, oh yeah, hey, this is one to get.
Right. This is the cover I prefer. You know,
right.
Absolutely. None of this jumps out as the variant I want to have.
Right. So there is that. But yeah, but hey, there you go. That stuff is out there if you are one of those people who are still buying physical copies of movies, one, and two, want like specific exclusives. So next up, oops, come on, stop, please stop. There we go. Craven Hunter cast West Side Story's Ariana DeBose as Calypso. So yeah, Kick-Ass is playing Craven Hunter because can't get enough of that superhero work, I guess, or villain in this case, I guess. Let's see, and other people, but basically this is the latest casting call. I don't know too much about this character, but it says here that Calypso is a voodoo priestess who was a Spider-Man villain and a lover to Craven. So, sure. Okay, cool. Next
up, Michael Chiklis, who played Ben Grimm, a.k.a. Ma Grimm's ever-loving blue-eyed son, The Thing, in 2005's Fantastic Four, has shared some advice for the MCU's proposed iteration of the classic superhero team. Bottom line is, he says that in an interview with Screen Rant, discussing his upcoming HBO series Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, which premieres in a few days on March 6th, he says he jokingly suggested that whichever actor is chosen should try to go CGI if they could. Chiklis is, of course, referring to the fact that his stint as The Thing was done through makeup and costuming rather than computer-generated effects. Let's see here. He says, just understand the real tone and tenor of the Fantastic Four is as they did it. It's not meant to be dark and brooding. It's never going to be the Dark Knight. Don't try to make it that. Don't expect it to be that. The ever-loving blue-eyed Thing was from Brooklyn, and he was a Dodgers fan. Well,
wait,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, but the last part aside, I agreed up until that last part.
Well, I don't think he was even from Brooklyn. He was from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. That was my understanding, because he's literally Jack Kirby.
Right.
Lower East Side of Manhattan. That's, but, it's, at the end of the day, he's right in that he says that there were a sweet family with a lot of problems, and I added the lot of problems part, and that's the way it's meant to be.
Right.
It wasn't meant to be hardcore and dark and brooding.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely agree with that. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm pretty sure they would not do The Thing in makeup and costuming anymore, given how they did Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Right. And yeah, and She-Hulk was about to happen. Is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and Thanos. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't think that's the case either. So
right.
Hey, the commission had some thoughts. Next up, Mr. Knight suits up on a new Disney Plus Moon Knight poster. So yeah, I think we did already get some inkling that Mr. Knight was going to show up in this Moon Knight thing. If you're watching the video, you can see the tweet of the poster with the Mr. Knight costume therein. And March 30th is coming soon. So yes, that was the other reason why to put it in here, because we will definitely be talking about that particular show when it drops. There you go. There's a bigger image of the poster. Next up.
So in some popular news that dropped this week, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage have been confirmed to be coming to Disney Plus UK and the United States. and it's going to come with, and and that also includes the Punisher, Defenders, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
Mm-hmm.
Will be available to stream on the service from March 16th, and it's going to come with a new set of parental controls in the U.S. to keep age-gated content away from the prying eyes of youngsters. So that's going to be an update to your app.
That's going to be funny to see who actually uses that. I don't know too many parents, but if at all. But yeah, so I guess this is kind of a not surprise. It's kind of a surprise, but not surprise, because like we had talked about this the last couple of weeks, and Agent 70 said that like, yeah, this is pretty much how this was going to go. I kind of hoped this was going to be the case, because this was probably the best case scenario for this, as opposed to them like say putting it on Hulu or something.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very least, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was definitely should have gone to Disney Plus, even if that did happen. So like I said, it worked out. So now,
right. And the key part here is that they're putting in a mechanism for parental controls.
Right.
That's really the thing that we didn't expect, and it's just a simple software update,
right,
really, that the Disney Plus app is going to require everyone to do before they start streaming the Netflix Marvel stuff. Right. So, that's the part that we didn't necessarily think they would even try to do, because I think what we imagined was that they were going to keep Disney Plus as a platform for age neutral and family friendly content.
Right. I mean, even though yes, we've had like X-Men and stuff on there, and granted, even that stuff is still kind of, I don't want to use the word sanitized because that's not necessarily the case, but
it's PG-13. Like a lot of this stuff is a little bit closer to like a R.
Right.
In terms of the violence level.
Right. So there you go. So now you won't need your VPNs, your V's and your P's and your N's, unless you're in a place that doesn't get Disney Plus and won't have these shows on them.
Right, and you need to access your US or UK subscription.
Yes, indeed. Oh, and also it says shows are also coming to Ireland, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So those are other places where you'll be able to get it. So yeah, so cool. That way now I don't necessarily have to sit and do a mad dash. Well, actually I hadn't, because they're already off of Netflix at this point, because it's after the first. So, but
right, so I can go back to ignoring them.
Yes, basically. I actually still want to. I hope they actually put them in timeline order also, because I remember where I left off, and it was probably right in the middle of Defenders. And it would do me a solid if they did kind of one of those timeline things where they've done with the MCU and whatnot. So just in case I do actually want to go back and watch them, then I can watch them in order.
I mean, my current preference is to rewatch select episodes of Haikyuu. So, when I need to pick me up, I'll jump on Haikyuu and preview my future subscription to Crunchyroll.
Yes, we'll get to that in a moment. Speaking of that, Star Wars. Oh wait, no, it's just you. Sorry. No wait, yeah, you did that one.
No, I just had the DD one. Yeah.
Star Wars savior, quote unquote, and the famous Hollywood producer Alan Ladd Jr. dies at 84. So the Hollywood producer and studio, for some strange reason, I was thinking of there was an actor I want to say is the same name or something.
Cheryl Ladd?
No, I was.
Cheryl Ladd was a Charlie's Angel.
Yes, I know, but no, I feel like there was the person I'm thinking of played a cop on some show, and I don't know. I don't think this is same person, and it might not even be Alan Ladd or something. Anyway, so the Hollywood producer and studio executive known as being the savior of Star Wars has died at 84. Ladd earned the moniker savior of Star Wars when appealed to 25th Century Fox president Gordon. I was about to say Schlumberg, but that's not right. Stolberg. To make George Lucas' Star Wars, and then intervened in 20th Century Fox's attempt to shut down production of New Hope. Ladd's faith was rewarded with the massive breakout success of Star Wars, which helped cement him forever as a Hollywood legend. News of Ladd's death was confirmed by social media page for Laddie, the Man Behind the Movies, a documentary about Ladd's work behind the scenes of Hollywood. And then it kind of goes into the tweet about that. Apparently, Star Wars was not his only credit, but that's the one that's kind of front and center in this in this article because apparently he had some dealing with Police Academy and Braveheart and the Brady Bunch movie. And Gone Baby Gone, rather, excuse me. Oh, The Phantom. There's another superhero movies, and there you go. That was a thing. So anyway, next up.
Shout out to Cheryl Ladd, who I just Googled. Anyway, the Sixth Gun TV series adaptation is in development. The Sixth Gun comic book series is getting television adaptation, according to Variety. Selwyn Seyfu Hines is adapting the series as part of an overall deal with Universal Studio Group's Universal Content Productions. Eric Gitter and Katie Zucker of Mad Massive will executive produce the project with Hines. Hines is currently the showrunner for Hulu's Washington Black, with other TV credits including Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone and HBO Max's Strange Adventures. This is based on the Oni Press comic by Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt. And I don't know if I'm going to read this in a whole description, but apparently it's about guns that were that had otherworldly power that were buried, unearthed by evil men. But there's a sixth gun. There were five guns were unearthed by these bad people. But the sixth gun, the most dangerous of the weapons, vanished until someone named Becky Moncrief unknowingly grabs that very weapon from her dead father in a desperate attempt at self-defense, and that moves the story forward.
For some strange reason, I was thinking about the song Mini Man by that one person, and coincidentally a story about that person happened to come up on the side, so that's kind of funny. Next up though, I believe, nope, this is not. Okay, Futurama. Hey, John DeMaggio is back playing Bender in Futurama because I guess he must have gotten his money. According to Hollywood Reporter, DiMaggio will return as the voice of Bender along with everybody else. And yeah, there's that. Next.
I'm just scrolling again. Shout out to Cheryl Ladd.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
All right, so we are officially in the anime corner of the cinematic news. So we are going to pull up an appropriate sound effect. I hope you guys are keeping up with Attack on Titan. The theatrical experience of the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie is less than a month away here in the States, so now's your time to get tickets for the big premiere. Tickets for the highly anticipated film go on sale in the United States and the United Kingdom recently, and ticket purchases opened up in Canada on March 1st. And I guess English dub cast has also been announced.
Yeah.
And that means nothing to me because I never watch with an English dub. I can't say never, but more likely than not watching in subs.
Indeed, because you are a right and proper person. But yeah, so I saw the there is a trailer attached to this. Looks like Gojo is rightfully all around this thing, but to what extent we'll see, because this is basically, if folks don't know for some strange reason, this is before the events of the show, as the name would describe, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, Lupin the Third Part 5 heads to High Dive for English dub's streaming premiere. So the English dub of Lupin the Third, and I keep wanting to say Lupin the Third because that was a thing. See, Lupin the Third Part 5, Misadventures in France. It's coming to High Dive, a service I've never dealt with. Nevertheless, according to Sentai Filmworks' streaming service, all 24 episodes of the 6th animated adaptations of Monkey Punch's classic manga series will be available to watch in the United States, Latin America, and Canada. Well, guess what? Already starting, because it started March 1st. The English dubbed and subtitled versions of Lupin the Third Part 5 OVA will be released, as well. So if you are a Lupin the Third fan, there you go. Which is also going to remind me of because that whole live action Lupin thing, there was apparently a heist on set of that as they were filming that live action Lupin thing they're doing on
Really?
Netflix. Yeah, I saw that recently. I'm like, huh, interesting. I never did finish that, but it seemed like all right, and not necessarily like the anime, but still.
Next up, Attack on Titan director's next anime, Bubble, drops a new trailer. So this is from Netflix. The new trailer is for an anime film from an all-star staff that includes Attack on Titan's original director and Madoka Magica's co-creator. The new trailer shows off more of the anime movie's gorgeous animation and is set to the song Bubble, featuring Uta by Japanese singer-songwriter Eve, who previously performed Jujutsu Kaisen's original theme song. It's catchy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking of the end, not the beginning, not the opening. So never mind. Full Metal Alchemist reveals first trailer for new live action movies. So yeah, the two new films entitled Vengeance of Scar and The Last Transmutation were unveiled with a trailer that was released by Warner Brothers Japan. The trailer features the two Elric brothers doing battle with the anti-state alchemist serial killer Scar, and also shows off the first look at the live-action versions of certain characters, including Fuhrer King Bradley, Ling Yao, Lan Fan, Oliver Mira Armstrong, and the brothers' long-missing father, Van Hohenheim. The first of the new titles is scheduled to be released in Japan on May 20th, while the second will premiere on June 24th. An international release for both movies has yet to be announced. Good luck with that. Next, so some of the not Netflix made ones or for certain live action animes are all right. A lot of them are not great. Anyway, from what I understand, I haven't seen a whole lot of them. So, next up.
All right, next up, last but not least in the cinematic news, Funimation has now become part of Crunchyroll to create an anime super service. This is not unexpected. It's actually what we were kind of all expecting when we heard the news of the merger. The only thing that was a little bit different was that Funimation comes in as the technical buyer, not the buyee, right? Being the property of Sony Pictures, which bought Crunchyroll. Right. But Funimation is now becoming part of Crunchyroll, becoming a subsidiary under the Crunchyroll banner. So more than 1,600 hours of anime has been added to Crunchyroll at no extra cost, following the merger between the two that completed in August of 2021. So 80% of what Funimation calls its most popular series will be available on Crunchyroll by the end of March, including My Hero, Tokyo Ghoul, Cowboy Bebop, and more. A lot of this stuff was already on Crunchyroll, but maybe they're referring to the dubs because Funimation seemingly had a lot of dubs in their library that they could now port over to English and other dubs that they could now port over to Crunchyroll. So there is a full list of Funimation shows on Crunchyroll that is available on Crunchyroll, and Funimation will continue to operate as normal for the time being, but the move makes clear that Crunchyroll is going to be the main platform going forward. Any new anime starting in spring of 2022 will only be available on Crunchyroll. Funimation will only continue to update series already hosted on the service. So, the move also brings Funimation subsidiary Wakanim and Crunchyroll's VRV into the core Crunchyroll subscription. So, any subscribers to Wakanim, VRV, and Funimation probably have since received an email. I did finally get the email. I got it on the 2nd, not on the 1st, but on the 2nd. So I did see an email about it, and as I jokingly told Roddykat, it's no surprise that they folded everything under Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll costs literally $2 more per month than Funimation.
Right. And not only, yeah, and there is that, and like I've said on the show before, like Crunchyroll is pretty much the more known brand. So I feel like if they had folded Crunchyroll into Funimation, that would have been a kind of a misstep. And I know people are thinking, it's like, well, now that this is going down, you know, obviously prices are going to go up, and this is going to be almost not necessarily a monopoly, but kind of kills the feel of anime streaming services. Not kills, but kind of, I guess.
Yeah, it reduces competition. That's really all it is. Exactly. It reduces competition. There's one main service that everyone's going to be basically have to be forced to become a customer of, because there's only so much anime on Hulu and Netflix and HBO Max
and YouTube, apparently, because apparently there's a movement there for I guess that some stuff is going on there by creators, but I don't know too much about that. So yeah, there's like I said, I don't have that big of a problem with it because I've been a Crunchyroll subscriber for a good minute. And I will say that there's already been stuff moved over. So, and going back to what you were saying, so I guess some of that is a play, but also like they had taken stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho off of the service, and that and a couple of other things is now back on the service as of, because I was I think it was like the first or second, like before I told you, or before I sent you that article or this article. Like I had noticed there was some stuff that was on there that wasn't on there previously.
Right.
That they had already taken off.
Right. So did you say that you were also a subscriber to Funimation or just Crunchyroll?
Yeah, both.
So you got the email, right? Yeah. So we have a year until March 1st of 2023 to take advantage of the free, I guess, 2 months of Crunchyroll as an incentive. And I found that interesting because I wonder what will happen to Funimation after that. Will they just close shop at that point? I guess at that point, that's when they'll finally move over everything, right. Because, and it's not the strongest reason to have jumped onto Funimation first. But it was my reason, and that was because Dragon Ball Z was on Funimation and it was not on Crunchyroll, and I fully intended to binge all of Dragon Ball Z.
And I think Z was one of the ones they took off like a while ago.
Off Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Right, because they actually made a point of saying that Funimation was the exclusive place of all of Dragon Ball.
Right.
So it's interesting that Dragon Ball Z is not on the list of things that are moving over to Crunchyroll. But I fully expect that's not going to be the case as the process kind of winds down. I think everything's going to be moved over to Crunchyroll eventually, at least the big titles.
Right. Like I was about to say it wouldn't make any sense because Super is still on, hasn't still been on Crunchyroll, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like Z or probably GT, wouldn't be on there or something, GT
exactly. Probably. My understanding is that GT is on Crunchyroll, but Z being the like the really big piece. And I think the OG Dragon Ball was also not on Crunchyroll, but I could be mistaken. But I can tell you that you muted.
Oh, was it?
Oh no, you were just. Maybe you were just miming. I thought you were saying something and I didn't hear anything.
No, go ahead.
But my understanding is that definitely Z. I'm not sure about OG Dragon Ball was not on Crunchyroll, but definitely Z was not on Crunchyroll when I was binging it a year and a half ago.
So I can safely say that OG wasn't on there either.
Right. So that's why I jumped into Funimation and kept it, because all of the stuff I needed to catch up on was on it. It was on the service, like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, etc.
Actually, I'm pretty sure GT was not on there also. I'm almost certain.
On Crunchyroll?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure Super was the only one on there, but I don't. But having not watched GT, I couldn't confirm.
Right. Yeah, because I hadn't seen GT on there ever, if any, if at all. So, yeah, there is that.
All right. So I'm gonna wait a little while before I jump over full time to Crunchyroll. You know, and and like I said, if you look on the list of anime that's jumping over, the My Hero Academia seasons that are jumping over the dubs, because the subs are definitely on Crunchyroll. So maybe the Funimation dubs are going to be what's posted. You know, the option for the dub is going to be posted on Crunchyroll now.
Yeah, I will have to see, because I know there's. I was looking at something the other day, and I was like, "Hey, I saw the dubs and not the subs?" And that might have been one of them, but I think they might have had them like in 2 different links. But they were both on there for something, or it was. It might not have been My Hero, but it was definitely a show that I was looking at, and I was like, that was that way. So either way, I'm happy for this.
Right, and I'm a free user of Crunchyroll already.
Right.
You know, that's how I watched Haikyuu.
Right. So, yeah, and I had My Hero queued up. I just hadn't.
You haven't started yet?
Not yet. But
that's all right. It'll happen soon enough. All right, so we're gonna transition over to comic book news, right? Or are we still in anime corner?
Both.
All righty. So I won't play the comic book transition just. Well, actually, no. It'll be manga, right?
Sure.
All right. So I'm just gonna play the transition then.
My Hime's Hiroyoku Yoshino launches new Gundam Rust Horizon manga. The March issue of Shueisha's Grand Jump, Mucha magazine revealed on Thursday that Hiroyuki Yoshino will launch a new manga temporarily titled Kido Senshi Gundam Rust Horizon in the magazine's next issue on April 26th. Yoshino is writing the manga, and Kenichi Terada is drawing the art. So cool. A new Gundam thing, probably that will probably end up as a manga. I mean, as an anime at some point. It says here the manga set during the original Mobile Suit Gundam's 1-year war, around the time when Garma died and Char disappeared. And I vaguely remember the events of Mobile Suit Gundam. So yeah, that's helping me out a whole lot. I remember Garma dying, but I don't remember when Char disappeared. Or I guess that was probably near the end of the series. Because I think there was a good bit of time in between those, but I don't remember. Regardless, there you go. That's the thing. Gundam stand up. Next up.
All right, next up. So this is a review of a game that is kind of a hybrid browser and tabletop game. It's Jujutsu Kaisen Escape from the Cursed Spirit of the Abandoned School. So basically you get to play along with the main characters, and it's an online escape game that puts you on the Jujutsu Tech team. Immersive and imaginative, it's a must-buy for anyone counting down the days until Jujutsu Kaisen 0 hits movie theaters here in the United States. So you get real-world materials with an online game. So you have to buy a game kit that costs $29.99. And the game does involve the original Japanese voice actors all reprising their roles, complete with English subtitles. It's a new story that that is introduced here, and there's puzzles and you escape. It's apparently a one shot and you're done. You play it once. There's no replay ability here. But apparently the review here states that when you're done, you have a one-of-a-kind official Jujutsu Kaisen collectible you can't find anywhere else. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I put this in there. I was like, that seemed like a curious mix of online and tabletop. I would probably never play it, but hey, it's out there for those. Next up, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes deluxe figure pre-order, and it includes Timber. So I feel like I can't remember if we talked about this one before. But Mezco Toys is adding to their G.I. Joe 112 collective line with an absolutely, according to this article, absolutely magnificent Snake Eyes figure. The 6-inch Snake Eyes figure features over 20 points of articulation, 3 interchangeable head portraits, 16 interchangeable hands, a highly detailed costume, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's my editorialization on that last part. However, the most important accessory is Snake Eyes' trusty pet wolf, Timber, who includes 2 interchangeable heads of his own. The collective deluxe edition figure is available for pre-order from Entertainment Earth for $112. I'm pretty sure you can probably find it at various prices other places. And with free shipping set for March 2023. Yeah, like I said, the article includes a breakdown of all the stuff that you get. So, and if you're watching the video version, you can see said accoutrement. I don't see oh, there we go. They don't have a picture of Timber. They just have a silhouette. That's weird.
Yeah, it's teased.
Yeah. But hey, there you go. If you're bucking for a Snake Eyes figure, this is not a bad looking one, I guess. I feel like we talked about one a while back that wasn't terrible.
Oh, you mean this scale?
I don't think it was this scale.
No. There's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive that I actually still haven't bought, but it does have Timber. It's like a more commando style. It doesn't have the 3 grenades across the chest.
Right.
Yeah, it's more of a suspender style, or like a small vest style, if I recall correctly. But yeah, they finally put out a Snake Eyes with a Timber in the G.I. Joe. It's the G.I. Joe version of the Black series.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's right. The was the classified.
Yeah, is that what it's called? I forget.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe classified line.
Mm-hmm. I do remember us talking about that. I was about to get into a rant about the naming of Timber and that whole situation right there, but we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I will spare you folks that. But I feel like
what is this rant?
It wasn't necessarily a rant. It's more like, so if you remember the miniseries, Timber gets named by the old blind dude who finds Snake Eyes in the woods and gives him the name. Snake Eyes does not talk ever in the series. How the hell did anybody else know? He didn't have a dog tag. How the hell did anybody else know his name? Because Snake Eyes couldn't tell him.
Sign language?
I don't even think there was none of that either. Because remember when they got back to the base and the what happened was, sadly I remember this stuff. They got back to the base. They got back to the base, had the canister, put the stuff in the master device, but the canister was about to blow, and then CoverGirl had to take it out with Timber after the gas was coming out and all that. So again, there was no point at no time. No one said anything. Was like, because they even asked, like, "Hey, who's your friend?" There was no name mentioned, but all of a sudden everybody knows his name. Anyway, that's just me. That was the thing. Every time I watched that, I'm like, how, who, when?
Roddykat's about to turn his rant button off now. All right, Next up.
I didn't want to get into it.
Exclusive Batman Beyond DC Multiverse figure is on sale now. So McFarlane Toys has added a new figure that's inspired by the classic Batman Beyond. I can't believe that's now classic. Batman Beyond animated series to their DC Multiverse line. And it's an exclusive. The Batman figure features a battle damaged design with exposed circuitry and glow-in-the-dark details, includes a Batarang, 2 jet booster effect parts, alternate hands, a flight stand, and an art card. So you can only get it at Entertainment Earth for $22.99 with a release date set for May. Okay.
I feel like this site, and no shade to the site because we know somebody who works for them and it has nothing to do with this, but I'm pretty sure that they have a sponsor, not a sponsor thing, but they probably have a sponsor code with Entertainment Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and also this battle damage, like he just got spray painted.
Pretty much.
So
it's just a different paint application.
Yeah, it's like they just douse paint on them or something. I don't know. Either way, I don't know. Classic, whatever. Shout out to Classic Material, formerly known as Classic Material.
Right now he's something else.
Yeah, OJ Purple stuff. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness Funko Pop pre-orders are here, which I feel like, I don't, for some strange reason, I feel like we talked about this before, but I don't remember. But yeah, so if you want those Doctor Strange Funko Pops of Scarlet Witch, or what the dude's name? Ringu? Rentra?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. There you go. All of that out there, and of course Mordo and Strange and other folks. Have at them, folks. Oh yeah, there's a America Chavez one too. And anyway, there you go. Next.
All right. Next up, Disney's Avengers Campus honors Marvel legend Stan Lee. So, Avengers Campus is a heroic attraction within the Disney California Adventure Park. So, it's already an homage to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The park has now incorporated a plaque to officially commemorate the legacy of legendary Marvel Comics creator Stan Lee. Disney Parks unveiled the memorial plaque on Twitter, sharing that visitors can find it near Avengers Campus at the California Adventure Park in Anaheim. The plaque has a quote from Stan Lee that reads, "That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it is the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero."
So this could be just me. I was thinking when I read this, well, like, a plaque is nice. Why didn't you just give him a statue, like a bronze statue? That's just me. I mean, it's probably, it's, whatever. But I'm like, he's not Walt Disney. I get it. But like, Stan Lee, get a bronze statue or something. Anyway, in rant.
Mm-hmm.
As I do that, there we go. Marvel just killed a shocking Spider-Man villain. And this is spoilers for last week's villain, Devil's Reign Villains for Hire. Which, wait, did you talk about? You read that, right?
Nope.
Oh, well, someone dies, and if
interesting,
yeah, and that title just pretty much gave away one of the two people it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll leave it at that. If you were curious about that, like, Spidey only got two Spider, well, actually probably three, but two main Spider villains that could be. Guess which one it was. Next up,
so a new Ant-Man is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So a new 4-issue Ant-Man miniseries is going to delve into the past of Ant-Man and introduce a new version of the character. Each issue will focus on a different Ant-Man, as the newest one visits Hank Pym, Eric O'Grady, and Scott Lang, looking for a way to connect them all in order to combat a new threat. The creative team for the miniseries is writer Al Ewing and artist Tom Riley, and Riley will also do the cover for each issue. So this is an anniversary for Ant-Man, so they're doing something new and big with the character. So it's interesting that they would be introduce a brand new Ant-Man here, considering that we're about to get an Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania in July of 2023. That's still going to have Scott Lang and presumably Hank Pym in it.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with a fourth character named Ant-Man.
Yeah, I guess we will find out. I was curious about this. Obviously, we like Al Ewing, so I figured like at least one of us was gonna check it out. There's even pictures of what looks to be the new suit, I guess. This is future Ant-Man, whatever, and this article's slideshow or image covers rather. So yeah. And I've been Tom Riley's been doing the art on the Thing book, which I didn't get a chance to read this week, but that's some pretty good stuff. So I see a lot of people online kind of excited for this book, interestingly enough. So unusually enough, actually, kind of. But again, I guess it's people who like Tom Riley's art as much as anything, because apparently somebody attributed to the Thing to Al Well, I guess they didn't think that they didn't know that Al Ewing was writing because they attributed a lot of stuff. But anyway, that's beside the point. Like I said, I'm curious about this. We'll see what happens. We'll be talking about it pretty sure. Next up, Moon Girl enters a new phase at Marvel Comics. So beginning in June 2022, a new phase will begin for Moon Girl at Marvel Comics, along with her companion Devil Dinosaur. She'll be starring in a series of one-shots that will feature team-ups with some of the biggest heroes Marvel has to offer. Beginning with Spider-Man himself in Miles Morales and Moon Girl #1 by a creative team that includes Mohel Mashigo and Iguara, with a main cover by Aletha Martinez and a variant cover by Peach Momoko, arriving June 1st. So I guess she's getting... I guess they did something like this with Kamala a while back. They basically gave her like a team-up book. That didn't last that long, but...
Right. It was like a reincarnation of Marvel Team-Up.
Right. But with Kamala, and I guess they're doing the same... Because we really haven't really seen too much of Moon Girl. And the last time I remember seeing her was that Spider-Man miniseries, which was based off the ride or something. So go figure. But yeah, there's a press. They talk about the official press release and who the folks that she's going to be teaming up with. Not surprisingly, Avengers, X-Men, and more. So yeah, we'll check that out.
Oh, it's about time for the character, to get a little bit more shine, and obviously it's time to come to coincide with, I think, the Hulu show.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So you're right. Next up, though.
Next up, so Tony Stark's Iron Cat armor returns under a mystery villain's control. So this is writer Jed MacKay returning to resurrect an untold Black Cat arc alongside artist Perry Perez for a brand new miniseries. So Iron Man and Black Cat are teaming up in this miniseries. So between 2020's Black Cat number 11 and 12, Felicia Hardy broke into Stark Unlimited to rob Tony Stark and use his Nano Forge, which with escape seeming unlikely, but Black Cat forged to help her escape her own suit of armor using the Nano Forge, calling it the Iron Cat, to take on Iron Man in a high-flying chase throughout Manhattan. We reviewed those issues here on the show and liked them immensely. Now the armor designed by artist Sia Villa returns under new villainous ownership in Iron Cat, written by Jed MacKay and drawn by Perry Perez. So I guess Jed MacKay had a story arc in mind, but it just didn't fit into into the publishing plans of the Black Cat book, because he had other stories he needed to tie in and tell. So it's kind of nice that he has the opportunity here to tell a miniseries involving this, this version of Black Cat that he introduced.
Mm-hmm. I felt like we even said back then, I was like, there's no way that this wasn't going to come back up in some form. And if we did say that, then hey, guess what? We were right. Speaking of, I could make a very tastefully poor joke here, but I'm not going to do that because I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. It actually says here in the article, it says, it was with a heavy heart that we said goodbye to the ongoing Black Cat series last year, but now what would have been the next arc in that series lives on in its own right, Iron Cat. So it would have come right back if the series hadn't ended when it ended. Okay.
Gotcha. Cool. And in other Iron Cat news, Iron Man and Hellcat annual #1 promises to send the titular couple to hell. A press release from Marvel Comics revealed details about the upcoming annual, which will be written by Christopher Cantwell and illustrated by Riari Coleman. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The book will follow up on Tony Stark Iron Man proposing to Patsy Walker Hellcat in May's Iron Man 20. According to the press release, Hellcat will return to San Francisco in a Victorian-style house left to her by her deceased mother, Dorothy Walker. However, she and Iron Man will end up drawn into a supernatural crisis that involves them having to, quote-unquote, beat back the flames of hell itself. No shit, Wang. The book will also see return of Walker's longtime frenemy, Hetty Wolf, and various others, which actually kind of reminds me of something from that last Iron Man issue, because there was definitely a callback to Patsy's former life that popped up in that issue. So now this makes a little bit more sense, even though whether that was intentional or not. Next up.
Back from the dead, Janice Vell returns in a new Captain Marvel series. Janice Vell is back, the son of the original Captain Marvel, recently returned from his 2006 death. Wow, it's been that long. In writer Kelly Thompson's The Last of the Marvel storyline in the ongoing Captain Marvel series. Spoiler alert if you haven't been keeping up with Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel. Now he's back from the dead enough to star in his own 5-issue limited series this June, debuting in Janice Vell Captain Marvel. The series is written by Peter David and illustrated by Juanan Ramirez, and will see Janice Vell reunite with his former partner from decades past, Rick Jones, who has also returned from being dead. According to Marvel, their adventure spans the Marvel cosmos and involves a mystery involving death itself. Okay.
When was the last? Wait, when did Rick Jones die?
Was it in the Hulk book? I think it was in the Hulk book when they killed with the Abomination.
Maybe.
Because remember, he was A-Bomb.
Well, no, because they had merged him with the other dude. Yeah, he came back and merged with that other dude that was like from the beginning of the book, and they was like one person for a good while. Or they was sharing a body for one time. I don't even know. Whatever, comics, y'all. But yeah. And again, this is not the first time Janice Vell has been back, because he's shown up at least one other time, because I think he was in that Silver Surfer Rebirth book fairly recently. And I'm kind of wondering, since this is a Peter David book, I wonder if this is like a new, quote unquote, new old story. Like it's set in times that's like, you know.
No, it doesn't seem like it from the book it was written. No?
I mean, it still could have been, because I mean, it could have been like since like after 2006, but before, quote unquote, now.
That's not how it reads to me, but listen, we'll find out very soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not, but you know. So anyway, that's the thing. He better not take Monica Rambeau's name, or there's gonna be some fighting. Anyway, Wiccan and Hulkling take on Agatha Harkness as their digital comic comes to print. I didn't read this Infinity comic, but I did see it out there. So yeah, there was an Infinity comic starring Wiccan and Hulkling, and now I guess they're basically making that digital, then the Infinity comic, into a print version. Let's see, it was a print edition one-shot that compiles the entitled digital story with a pair of new covers from Luciano Vecchio and Peach Momoko. The covers are in this article. It was written by Josh Trujillo and artist Jody Nishijima. Excuse me. Probably still butchered that, but my apologies. But yeah, there is that. So if you didn't get a chance to read it and it's probably still on Marvel Unlimited, and you wanted a print version of it, there you go. It's due out June 15th. Next.
So Marvel just spoiled a major hero's death a week early. So this is something we discussed earlier. It revolves around the Daredevil Woman Without Fear issue number 3 of 3 that came out this week. That teases something that actually comes out next week in Devil's Reign number 5. So we won't discuss it at length here, but suffice to say that it doesn't seem likely that this is actually what happens, but we'll see what happens next week in Devil's Reign number 5. What's interesting about this article is that it reminds us that the Kingpin has actually been in real time, in our time, mayor of New York since 2017. Holy cow. Right. Has it been that long?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I don't even remember when that actually happened, but I do remember it after it came up. I'm like, wait, when did this happen?
2017, after Secret Empire. My goodness.
Oh, that explains that actually a little bit then. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Unbelievable. Okay, next up.
Destiny of X trailer teases Marvel's future X-Men plans. So yeah, there's a new trailer out for the Destiny of X. It's on YouTube, and it shows Irene Adler, also known as Destiny, slowly but surely taking control of Krakoa. Y'all know what Krakoa is at this point if you haven't been keeping up with either this show or Hoxpox and then ons. But yeah, trailers for comic books is still weird to me. I will say that again. You can check it out. If you are so inclined. Next up,
so Marvel announces a Fortnite crossover comic with digital unlock codes. So similar to what DC did last year with Batman, if I'm not mistaken. Fans of both Fortnite and Marvel's Pantheon of Heroes are in luck as the comic book publisher announces a new crossover series that will see the two worlds collide. So Fortnite x Marvel Zero War will pit iconic heroes like Spidey, Wolverine, Iron Man, and Shuri against the zany characters of Epic Games' hyper-successful Battle Royale game. Spanning 5 issues, the story will focus on the quest to discover a crystallized fragment of the Zero Point, a powerful artifact that could end the never-ending war plaguing the island. To secure their prize and save the day, the heroes will need to cross dimensions while also holding off the sinister Imagined Order, a task which will prove easier said than done. Unlock codes. This is going to be written by Christos Gage and Epic Games' Chief Creative Officer Donald Mustard. His name is Mustard. Is he a colonel?
That's the old joke.
Let's see. Okay, the comics will also include exclusive codes that can be used to redeem in-game cosmetics, skins. So it's currently unknown what specific items will be unlocked, but gamers can likely expect new outfits, gliders, and pickaxes. Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell Fortnite is at this point, and I don't really care. I hope it dies. I don't know. I said what I said. I'm going to take these next two. They're related. Venus makes her comic debut in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 127. So yes, folks, the first female member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will make her first appearance in the comics in that said issue. If y'all do not know, this is the turtle that was born in a live action version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show. Wait, was that the only? I guess that was the only one. That was on Fox Kids back in the day.
Wow, I have no idea when this was. Did she burn like a silver flame?
Well, the show.
Roddykat did not catch that reference just now.
All right, I see you.
But I needed a laugh tonight, folks. It's been an aggravating day and evening. So, I did not know that this Venus character existed. I'm going to let Roddykat continue, but that was a reference to, did not know the group's name, but Shocking Blue and the song Venus from, I guess that was the original. So I guess the version that we know is from Bananarama in 1986.
Right. But the show itself was from 1997. I believe it was a Saban joint. Trying to remember if that was before. No, Power Ranger was going, so that crossover was about the same time. Regardless, Venus de Milo was a character that came out during that thing through mixed results. And I want to say, didn't they have a section about this in Toys That Made Us? I don't remember.
They might have mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They might have mentioned it. I mean, that episode of Toys That Made Us is so good, but covers so much more than just what happens to the characters, because it's really about the creators. At least for me, that's what I took from it.
No, I agree.
So that's what I remember most.
Yeah. So it says here reactions were mixed, and that's kind of an in certain, depending on who you ask, it was an understatement. Because I think from what I understand, some people did not like the fact that they added a new turtle, much less made him a woman. And given that it was 1997, and I don't think the character aged too well if you watch it now. I guess I don't know. I know that's let's see. I think that show's still on next Netflix, so you can watch the show if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, yeah, it says she pretty much disappeared after the show was canceled. And I think even amongst Eastman and Laird, there was some. I feel like this is where the Toys R Majors thing comes in. I feel like there was that's may or may not been part of the that wasn't part of the reason, but that was just another thing that kind of put a wedge in between them at one point. I might be slightly off by that one, but regardless, sees here writer Sophie Campbell and artist Pablo Tunico will bring Venus back in the current storyline, in which the Turtles investigate the laboratory of the enigmatic Dr. Barlow. It should be known, if you have been paying attention to the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there is already another female character, Jenica, who was introduced in the book, and actually I think it's still going strong in the pages of the Turtles books, as far as I know. That is another mutant. I don't know if she's a turtle. I can't remember. I think she is actually a turtle. I don't know. But regardless, yeah, there you go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 127 will go on sale March 15th. With cover A by Tunica and cover B by Kevin Eastman. There you go. Next up.
Next up.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I said I was gonna take this one.
I was about to say. I thought you already combined it. That's why.
No, I didn't. Because the only other thing was basically that Kevin Eastman celebrates Venus's triumphant return, because apparently he was like what he said. It's been a super exciting. He's been enthused. The evolution has been wonderful. Working with the incredible Tom Waltz, who wrote the first 100 issues of the IDW Teenage Mutant Turtle series. By the time Tom and I got around 50, we started talking about the opportunities to bring in a female turtle at some point, and I wanted to make it sense story-wise. That's where the character of Jenica came in 51, like I said, and blah 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 blah, and let's see. Oh, it says here that as she evolves as a character, we were able to see an opportunity story-wise to bring her to life as the official fifth turtle, and a female turtle at that, based on what we loved about Venus back in the day. And this article kind of goes on with talking to Eastman from there, getting to the point to where Venus and Milo comes back into play. So there's that. Next.
All right, now I can move on and announce that Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez are your new Batman creative team this July. The Dark Knight's adventures will be under new management. DC Comics has announced that writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Jorge Jimenez will take over creative duties on the main Batman title with July's oversized issue number 125. The duo succeeds the current creative team of writer Joshua Williamson, and a rotating group of artists will kick off their run on the series with a 6-part storyline titled Failsafe. So I guess this, what was that crossover called? Shadow something?
Shadow War.
Shadow War. I guess that's going to be the swan song for the Williamson run on Batman before Zdarsky takes over.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, he goes from Marvel's Batman to DC's Batman again.
Right, and Zdarsky's not leaving any of his Marvel work.
Right.
So he's just a regular old freelancer.
Yeah. All gone from the days of art. So, DC's Flash family had just gained a powerful new ally, apparently. This is spoilers for Flash 779, which is, I think it's probably already came out last week or something. I don't know. Let's see. Thanks to the kindness of the flesh wound shown to others, have allowed them to make powerful allies within the superhero community, sometimes without even realizing it. Wally West's daughter Iris West became fast friends with Maxine Baker, seemingly normal girl with a bit of a mischievous streak. However, Irie accidentally pulled her into the middle of a battle between her and her dad in Ellipso. And apparently she reveals that Maxine is the daughter of former Justice League member Buddy Baker, aka Animal Man. So I guess she is now the new Animal Woman or Animal Girl. So there you go. I was like, where the hell has Animal Man has been? I guess all this time anyway. So, but yeah, there you go. If you know who Animal Man is and remember he having a family, there you go. Next up,
so this is a spoiler. These are spoilers for Justice League Incarnate number 5, now on sale from DC. I am not reading this, so this is news to me. But in case you don't want to be spoiled, just tune out what I'm talking about. The Flash's appearance in Justice League Incarnate number 5 by Joshua Williamson, Dennis Culver, Andre Bresson, Jesus Marino, Hi-Fi, and Tom Napolitano confirms he is still trapped in his own personal paradise reality by not Pariah, and that he's willing to fight his former allies to stay there, suggesting the hero has been truly broken ahead of the upcoming Dark Crisis. So if you hear Pariah and Crisis in the same breath, it is definitely hearkening back to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yes, of which we discussed, what is it, like a year ago, 2 years ago at this point?
2 years, almost, not quite 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago, because it was definitely in the midst of the shipping shutdown after the first wave of COVID. Actually, so that's when we were doing Evergreen stuff.
Right, because we started doing that in like, what, March, April?
Yeah, so it's almost, but I'm saying it's not quite.
Yeah.
I think we started doing it, I think we stopped getting books in like April.
Right.
So I think that's when we started doing the Evergreen stuff.
Right. And you can go into the archives, not on Twitch, unfortunately, but you can go into the archives of the shows, the shows. I'm pretty sure you can go on YouTube and find it, but
YouTube, on the Apple Podcast page.
Cold Slither Podcast Network page. You can go see that. But that show's back there a couple of years ago. It's the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. It's back there. We talked about it. We had fun.
Yeah. Did we do it over two episodes or one?
Shit, we did a couple of them over 2 episodes. That might have been one of them.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly. It has been a while, but I definitely remember that we might. I have a feeling we might have split that one up for into 6 episode arcs.
Right, because I think we did 6 and 6
or 6 issue arcs. That is, yeah.
So that one probably was that case. But yeah, like I said, go check them out, folks. But yeah, Pariah. We always laugh when we hear Pariah's name around here because we know him from crying during the Crisis. So I am sure there was some of that happening here ahead of this Dark Crisis. Go figure.
He probably dyed his hair darker to blend in with the Dark Crisis now.
Oh god!
Because remember he had like that gray poofy afro.
So now he's more emo. That's great. Goth Pariah. That's just great. DC reveals the face under the Robin mask. The Robin villain respawns mask. We kind of sort of talked about this, but not really. So yeah. In the Robin book, there was a person going by the name of Respawn. He was dressed in a version of Deathstroke's in a Deathstroke-like suit, but with different colors. It was red and black as opposed to gold and black. Ravager was kind of curious about who that was. She ended up finding out at the ending in the end of last issue, and they ended up going over to Deathstroke's book at the end of his last issue, which both were like last week, so coincidentally. And now it seems as though the rest of us are going to get to know, find out for certain who this was, because it seemed like something that was supposed to be known to definitely Deathstroke and his family, which can only be a couple of people, maybe possibly including a clone of Deathstroke. Maybe I don't freaking know. But regardless, they're going to be in Deathstroke Inc. next issue, which is issue 7, and we'll hash all of that out. Next.
All right, we're in the home stretch, folks.
Yes.
I guess this is spoiled. These are spoilers for Dark Knights of Steel #5 by Tom Taylor, Yasmin Putri, Arif Prianto, and Wes Abbott, now on sale from DC. So in a scene reminiscent of the brawl between the Man of Steel and Dark Knight in Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. I mean, if you choose to reminisce about that and choose to keep that in mind, because I have tried my very best to shut that out of my memory. The latest issue of Dark Knights of Steel features Clark Kent using a kryptonite dagger on Bruce Wayne, but apparently not somebody yelling out Martha.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes. How do you know that day? Okay, anyway, nope, not doing that. Next up, though.
Why did you say that? God.
Love it. Justice League goes full Gundam in new DC Mech series. So, hey, Marvel did it. Why not DC? Because you know they play from the same books, playbooks every now and then. But Batman, Superman, and other members of the Justice League are hopping into giant robots in the limited series DC Mech, due for release in July. Announced at the 2022 Comics Pro Online comic industry meeting and revealed by IGN, the 6-issue series is inspired by anime classics like Mobile Suit Gundam, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Robotech, and Marvel Tech On. Penned by Kitty Porter, DC The Doomed and Damned, Superman Man of Tomorrow, and illustrated by Baldemar Rivas of Unearthed. DC Mech takes place in an alternate universe where the citizens of Earth dove into the world of robotics, and built mechs in response to World War II invasion by Apocalypse. The series begins as the Justice League suits up to protect their home from Darkseid's imminent return, because Darkseid is, with Superman's all-white Kryptonian mech taking the lead. I feel like this is like Big O versus, I don't know. That would be real fun if they did that. So yeah. Will we read this? Maybe. We'll see when it happens. July is a couple months away. But hey, here's our images of said mechs and whatnot. I believe Batman's mech has a cape. Go figure. Yep, there we go. Almost like Deathscythe from Gundam Wing. But anyway, next
up. So my question is, did you ever have any robotics?
I did not. At one point I kind of wanted one. I remember do you remember the show?
I never watched it, but I do remember commercials for it.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Because I think it came on Sunday morning with like Jim and Holograms and Bigfoot and the Monster Machines and whatever the hell else it was having on Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was about to say maybe in your area.
Yeah, in my area.
I definitely remember the robotics cartoon coming on at some point. I never watched it. I did in fact have some robotics. I got it as a gift.
Oh, cool.
I don't recall asking for it, but I definitely got it.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of one of those things, like I saw it in the store, but it was also like, well, this is kind of like a Rector Sex and Legos, and I was like not that terribly big on those, but they look cool as hell. So, but anyway.
Okay. All right. Next up. So apparently people are not happy with Amazon's big changes to Comixology that went into effect last week. Roddykat is nodding in agreement. And the Beat looked extensively at those changes. And they, in this article, provide 4 alternatives to the Comixology website experience, which used to be smooth and had high definition. And now there are other options that comic fans can use to avoid having to visit the new Comixology website. So you can find the four options are publisher specific digital sites. So there's Dark Horse, Dynamite, Humanoids, IDW, blah bitty blah blah, yakety schmackety, all the way down. There are a few select publishers here that only offer digital copies through Amazon, chief among them Aftershock, Archie, AWA, and Boom Studios, and Oni Press, as well as Ahoy Comics. There are publisher-specific subscriptions that you can get. So, Marvel and DC have their own. Viz has its own for Shonen Jump. There is a Humble Bundle that that's not a consistent thing, but it often offers great deals for large bundles of DRM free editions of comics that you can get through their website. You just have to be on the lookout for it. A lot of that stuff is older stuff. Your local library, of course. You can read digital comics through the local library app. Sometimes the app is usually not perfect, but it's a choice that you can make and that you have.
Hoopla and is not a terrible app. I've gone there and like perused some stuff and even actually watched some movies through the app. You just need your library card and the Hoopla app, and you can go through the library basically. Don't know about this Libby, but I've heard of that one. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I might have cut you off. I'm sorry. You were gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
Archie had I remember Archie having an app. Maybe they stopped it at this point or something, but I remember they used to have an app, a digital app where you could like read and buy stuff. So maybe they folded it. And yeah, there's Marvels, of course, and there's DC Infinite, which they did have a sale on a half off sale, but that was unfortunately a 1 day thing. As far as I know, you might be able to still do it. I don't know, but it seemed like from what I saw, it looked like a 1 day thing. That you could get half off of DC Infinite if you were so interested. But even then, the pickings there or whatever. But yeah, I have not updated my Comixology mobile app yet, so I don't know how that looks. But I don't like the fact that they folded into the Amazon website page, and I don't like trying to peruse through there. It sucks. So that's all I got to say about that. I don't know if you have you checked out the app or anything.
No,
you haven't. Okay.
No. Sorry. All right. Last but not least, of course, there are physical comics from your local comic shop.
Yes.
That kind of defeats the idea of not having the bulk, of avoiding the bulk that you get with reading digitally, but comic shops need your support.
Yeah, and when the whole thing about the Comixology thing, people were going off of that. I was like, well, you know what? That's not always viable for everybody. It is the thing that should also be still brought up though, because yes, local comic shops definitely do need the patronage. So if you do have one in the area, you can definitely go check that out. But for some people, digital comics is the de facto way to go, one way or the other. And I know some people, the quote unquote, some purists kind of poo poo that idea. I'm like, well, whatever you do, you let other people read the way they want to. Yeah. Anyway, last but not least, Aftershock announces a Calculated Man, a math-inspired crime series written by Paul Tobin, with artist Alberto Albuquerque, as well as colorist Mark Eglert and letterer Taylor Esposito. The book follows Jack Beans, an accountant living in witness protection after betraying his former employees, the Pinafore crime family. After 3 years, Jack has had enough and decides to reclaim his own life. The Pinafores think they're ready, but little do they know that Jack's skills with math and his perfect memory has made him a better killer than they could ever realized. What follows is a journey full of murder, mayhem, and mathematics. I have seen this described as, here we go. John Wick mixed with a beautiful mind, according to this article, according to what Paul Tobin says. So if that is of interest to you, hey, knock yourself out. I don't think we get any Aftershock books.
I think we've gotten a few in the past, but I don't think we get any right now.
Yeah. Calculated Man #1 will be released on June 15th with a regular cover by Alberto Albuquerque. And it will retail at 32 pages, $4.99. And you can check out some preview pages in this article. And that, folks, is it for the news. One, you got an ad read for me?
Sure. I was just looking up a book I could have sworn was an Aftershock book.
Like you said, we probably got
that I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to make special requests for it, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I'm gonna abandon this particular search for after the show.
Where the animals took over?
What's that?
Was it the book where the animal took over the world or something?
No.
Start talking.
No, it's okay. All right, I'm gonna move on to our last ad of the night. It's for Wink, the personalized wine club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your taste and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink wines through CSPN. Do it today.
And as we come to an end of another exciting episode of this here Comic Book Chronicles, I'd like to thank each and every one of you all for coming out. Let me see. I don't think I have anything. Nope. Well, I was gonna mention something, but it was something we talked about before the show. About a certain book that's coming out in a couple of weeks, but I'm not gonna tempt fate and mention it here just in case. So, we will be back next week with another show. We will probably, Agent 7 will possibly have watched Star Trek Picard season episodes 1 and possibly 2. I assume in that time, since they are coming out on Thursday, if he's so inclined. So we will probably talk about that next week. We still got a couple more weeks before Moon Knight comes out. And I don't think if we both see The Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman, not to be confused with that show that was called The Batman.
Right.
Then we'll talk about that too next week.
We will see. We'll see. I know. We'll see how we get around it. We'll see how we can figure it out.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we will let you know at that next week though. Until then. I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 at Twitter and Instagram. PC_dirt on Twitter. Pop Culture Net on Twitter. PopCultureNetwork.com and all those umbrella sites therein. And the Osiris of this ish. 1 Tim DOGG98 on Twitter. CB Cron on Twitter, which I need to talk to him about that actually, because I just thought about something. The Click Nation on Twitter, and also comicbook.com, where he's over there writing his face off. Oh, by the way, I know I forgot something. This past Monday was the anniversary of this here show. By the way. So the show is 9 years old? I believe yes. So happy anniversary to us. Obviously we had no big plans because this is another year old.
Yeah, it's not one of the exactly. It's another year. It's not one of the round numbers.
Basically. Another year older, another year wiser, hopefully, and we'll keep this train booking. But we will be back next week. Before I get to that, actually, you can find this here podcast on the Coastal Podcast Network. That's ESPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us in your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Google Play, Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal Podcast Network's SoundCloud page. You can also find us recording every Thursday, 9:30-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel of The Click Nation. That's youtube.com/TheClickNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll check y'all out then. Y'all be good and get vaccinated, get boosted, all that kind of good jazz.
Please, please, please.
And with that, peace.
Peace. One.
I love it when a plan comes together.